What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. I'm going to ask an obvious question. I think I know the answer I'm going to get from most of you folks, but I'm going to ask this question anyway because it comes up every single day in every political conversation. Probably one of the primary reasons a hell of a lot of you folks are voting to begin with. But I'm going to ask a question that, yes, while I know the answer to it, I'm asking because I want to get more of a deep, in-depth response on why you think it's that way and which candidate would be the best choice to solve it. Now, the question I'm asking is, do we have an immigration problem in this country? And I'm going to follow that up by asking, is it something that is repairable? Is it something that is being overstated? And which candidate do you believe would be likely to get this under control? Or do we not have an immigration problem at all, and folks are using it just simply for political advantage? Do we have an immigration problem in this country, or is it simply being overstated? That's what we're going to talk about for our first topic. And the second one is, speaking of immigration, why are you voting? What is your number one reason for why you're going to vote on November? Now, obviously, there's a host of different reasons people may vote, but if you had to give the top number one thing that you're concerned with, that you want to go in your favor, in your direction, what is the number one reason why you're voting? It's going to be simple as that. Now, I see in the comments already, Bandito is saying it's overstated. The immigration issue is overstated. Maybe the border is not as problematic as some are saying. It is possibly overstated. But what say you folks? We're going to go into it as always. I see in the comments, Heather White says that's bullshit. Overstated? Or is it as bad as some folks say? As always, the program is MAGA friendly, always has been, always will be. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. So you don't have to agree with anyone in the comment section. You damn sure don't have to agree with the host. Alter Ego, yeah! Appreciate the hat and mustache to start the program off right. Thank you for your support. Alter Ego, thank you, 1600. So, overstated, or is there a serious problem? Looking straight in the comments, the people complaining about immigration didn't want to do shit to fix it. Wow, that's a strong comment. Now, you know where that's coming from. That is the suggestion that former President Trump, when the Republicans and the Democrats got together on what was considered a bipartisan border bill, former President Trump urged the Republicans to no longer cooperate. What do you folks think? If you believe the border, this is in regards to those who believe the border is jacked up, who believe the border is out of control and is not being properly secure or managed. If they came together with a border bill and Trump fought to have it shot down because he believed it would be politically advantageous for him to get reelected, is he part of the border problem? If they had finally come to a conclusion, even though it's 3 years into the Biden administration, he should have done something sooner, many would argue. But even if they finally come to a conclusion, and then Trump is responsible for that conclusion being undone, is Trump also partially responsible for what's going on at the border? That is worthy of discussing. So we'll go straight to the box. As always, tap the screen on TikTok. 300 plus of you here. Tap the screen, get the likes up. Gerald, appreciate the subscription. David as well, thank you very much. So going to the box, thank you guys for supporting the program. Well, we're asking that question. Electric Wolf 45. This damn screen, I hate this all the time. Wolf, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Electric Wolf, are you there?
How are you?
I'm doing good.
I'm here.
So
I'm here. I haven't talked to you in a while.
Well, I'm glad to have you here. But let me ask you that though. So with former President Trump squashing the border bill, do you believe he's responsible at all for what's going on at the border?
Well, no, he didn't. He didn't squash the border bill. They just went against it because it had too much shit in it. And then when they cleaned it up, it wasn't doing anything as far as shutting down the border. All it was doing was allowing more people to come in an orderly fashion.
What do you mean by it had too much shit in it?
So if he did do it, I don't think he did, but if he did, I'm okay with that.
Okay, but his party, the Republican Party, is saying he did. So if the border is jacked up and they finally came up with a bill that was going to get it under control somewhat, and he had it shot down, you don't hold him accountable at all for that?
It wasn't gonna. No, but that's just it. No, but it wasn't gonna get it under control. It wasn't gonna get it under control. That's just false. It wasn't gonna get it under control. All it was gonna do was allow more people in an orderly fashion and have more judges. And then on top of that, if it got to too many people on a daily basis, which was like 5,000 or 7,000, and it got to too many, they would shut down the border. But then on top of that, Biden was able to say, oh, well, no, never mind, just open it up again. He still had that power. So he didn't do anything.
Well, I never heard of it.
It was a bullshit bill. We all know that.
Well, let's be clear. The president can always say, well, just let's open it up. No matter what bill they come up with, there'll always be to say that. But what I want to ask you,
but he could always say we could close it too, right?
Yeah. Do you believe the border is better off now than it would have been with that bill?
There you go.
Hold on. But you saw what was in that bill in regards to the border. Do you believe the border is better off having no bill passed at all than it would have been if that bill was passed?
Yeah, I think it would have been the same.
You don't think
the same thing because it still would have been broken. It's still handsome. The thing is these guys just lie. They're making shit up. They're letting people through on purpose. They're not trying to close the border and stuff like that. They're not trying to. I don't know why we kid ourselves.
So why would
they want these people in here?
Why would the Republicans be part of a bill that essentially did nothing? Any idea for any explanation for that?
Yeah, for votes. They just want to. They like even Langford, the guy that wrote the bill. He said that he was bamboozled in it too. He's like, oh no, this turned. I'm paraphrasing it, but he said that it was bullshit. That it wasn't the stuff that he wanted either. I mean, he already came out and said, because everybody says, oh, well, one of the most conservative Republicans had something to do with it. Yeah, but then they twisted it all around on him. And he even admitted that too.
Well,
that story.
No, if I'm correct, he stated that they were happy with the bill in the beginning and he was fine with it until Trump called and stopped it. I'm not hearing what you said.
No. He didn't blame Trump. He blamed the Democrats that they're the ones that changed it and that they changed the stuff that he wanted, that he didn't want all that stuff. He's the one that said it. See, that's why I tell you.
Then why agree to it?
I want Trump back in there.
Why would he agree to it in the beginning?
Because they're trying to fix something. They're trying to pull this whole bipartisan. It's like, look, handsome. It's like I tell you, these guys will always be Democrats and Republicans of what do you call it? What do they call that? They're always going to be in it for themselves. They're just going to, it's like
that's how politics works.
They're going to do 1 year and say, look, we're going to screw the Democrats this year. No, exactly. And that needs to stop. It needs to stop.
Let me ask you this, okay?
Take care of this country and not pretend that we're taking care of this country.
Okay, let me ask you this then. If we're speculating here, what would the perfect border bill look like to you? What would be in it?
Close the border and redo amnesty to where they start from their country and they work amnesty that way or the closest country to them. And that's where they apply from.
Okay.
And that's it.
And what would you be willing to give the Democrats to get what you want?
What would I be willing to give them?
That's the point.
I mean, what? Work on DACA?
No,
Take care of DACA for that.
No. Hear me out. That's the reason. The reason why I asked you that question is because I strongly believe the issues that the Republicans have with the bill is that they wanted a bill that was 100% in their favor. And Ukraine money, Israel money, they didn't want to do anything for the Democratic Party. They wanted. This is not how give and take work. This is not how negotiation work. They want a bill that has nothing in it for the other side.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
You see, but that's the thing. It should be for both sides. Shouldn't both sides want to take care of the border? Shouldn't both sides want to take care of their country first?
Yes.
Shouldn't both Democrats and Republicans care about the U.S. before they care about Israel and Ukraine?
Yes, but that's
think about it. That's what we're giving them. We're giving them a secure border.
No. You're giving them a border that
Democrats want too.
No, you're giving them a border that's to a level of security that they don't want. They don't want the border completely closed. They don't want amnesty where the people got to request it while they're in the danger zone still.
Okay,
they don't want that.
Exactly. See, you're admitting it. No, you're admitting it. You're admitting it right there. You're admitting Democrats do not want the border closed. That's why you would have to negotiate with them because they want what's happening. They want an open border.
No.
Don't want that.
Hold on a second.
Americans don't want that. We want them to come in legally.
Okay. A closed border and legal entry are not the same thing. When I'm saying, what did you say? A closed border. They want folks to be to come in here. They don't want it where nobody can come in like you're talking about.
Well, I want people. No. I want people. Look, I just crossed the border this morning. I took my daughter to the doctor.
DJ,
we walked over the bridge. That's what I want. Come on over the bridge that way.
I
want you to come in.
And
you don't have the papers to come over the bridge legally. You don't come in.
Yeah, but you also you stated in regards to amnesty, if they're in the danger zone, you want them to seek asylum while still in the danger zone. You don't want to let them in if they're requesting asylum.
No, I want them to seek asylum. Seek asylum in the closest country to you. First country you hit.
What if it's Mexican? What if it's a Mexican?
Then you stay in Mexico.
Exactly, in the danger zone. If it's a Mexican that is trying to run from the cartel, you want them to stay in Mexico and hope the asylum comes to you. You want to leave them in the danger zone.
Well, no, but they're not gonna. The thing is, it's different with Mexicans because if I'm understanding, all they have to do is turn themselves in, and then they'll give them they should go for the asylum that way. No.
What do you mean turn themselves? Turn themselves in who?
A Guatemalan, a Venezuelan, all those they have to stop at. They're at the border. They turn themselves in there at the border, and they apply, and then they go from there.
Wait.
And
so
they seek asylum, and then they see a judge right there. They should have a judge there 24 hours a day.
So you're saying if a Mexican is running from the cartel,
they make enough money.
You're saying if a Mexican is running from the cartel and they want to seek asylum in the United States, they should be allowed in the United States?
They turn themselves in at a port of entry.
That's what they're doing.
They turn themselves in at the port of entry.
That's
what the decision's made right there.
But what if...
Okay, no. But it's not Mexicans. Because my understanding is Mexicans can't do that.
What do you mean Mexicans can't do it?
Everybody but Mexicans can do that. Look it up. That's why all these Venezuelans, Hondurans, Guatemalans, all these people are coming in and they're allowing them in, but they're not allowing the Mexicans in.
But based on your statement that if you're not a Mexican, if you're any of these other entities, they should have to request asylum at the port of it at the next country over. You would essentially make it so that if you're not from Mexico or Canada, you can't. Hold on. You would make it so if you're not from Mexico or Canada, you can't request asylum in the United States at all because there's another country closer.
No. You apply for amnesty to the United States in that country, from the closest country to you. That's what I'm saying.
And what if that country doesn't work with the United States or doesn't have diplomatic relations? If you're leaving Venezuela and you want to come to America, you're putting other countries in the mix of this. What if other countries don't want nothing to do with it?
Well, then that's where the tough shit factor ends up.
And I think there's going to be a lot of tough shit and stuff you say. Yeah, you're basically, and so if you want to seek asylum in America, if you want to seek asylum in America, and you're in one of these other countries, you're saying use the next country to you. How long does that process take? Are you in that other country until things go through?
Exactly.
So
exactly
right.
That's how you do it, and then that'll start the process faster. Then you don't wait years. Now let's say you're going to be there. It's instead of 2-3 years here in the United States sucking up our resources. What you're going to do is you're going to probably suck up some of theirs, and they're going to turn around and be like, hey, U.S., you need to do something about this. And then you're going to see the asylums processing like crazy, either yes or no.
So if I'm in Venezuela,
incentivize that happening.
So if I'm in Venezuela and I go to, say, Guatemala and request asylum in America, once it's granted, do the Americans come down and get me from Guatemala?
Yes.
They actually come and get me.
Once it's processed. Once it's processed.
And that's it. That's on the Americans' dime. Okay.
It's completely processed and you're allowed in.
All right. I think I see half the audience disagrees with you. I got to move it on real quick. Why are you voting in November? What's your biggest concern?
I'm just voting that I want to go in a positive U.S. position. I want everybody to be pro-U.S. I'm tired of being pro-everybody but U.S. I'm tired of being pro-Ukraine, pro-Israel, pro-Palestine, pro-Canada, pro-world order, pro-everything except because, see, Sansom, the thing is that cracks me up is that people love to bash this country, which they have every single right to do. But the one thing that they never do is leave and go to the country that they think is so much better than the US.
Why would you? Wait.
But on top of that, they always want to put us second. And when we want to put, but you want to put this country first, we're racist. I don't think so. Because I'm looking at it in a black, white, brown, Asian, black, straight, gay, everything. So I'm looking at it as American first.
Trump says
we go first.
Trump bashes the country all the time. Says we're a laughing stock. Nobody is afraid of us. Says we're dilapidated. Our cities are shitholes. Are you saying Trump should leave the country and go to one where they have better cities?
Yeah, we have to fix it. Yeah, we have to fix our country, and he wants to fix it. It's that simple.
So
that's not saying, oh, this is a shit country, I'm leaving. No, he's saying we can fix it. But let's fix it first before we start trying to fix other countries. And that's what we're doing. That's what we want.
So why isn't that
fix this country first?
So why isn't it possible that the liberals that are insulting the country want to fix it by voting for Kamala? Why do they got to leave?
That what?
Why are you suggesting that the liberals?
What was that?
Why are you suggesting that the liberals have to lead the country? Maybe they want to fix it as well by voting for Kamala Harris.
No, they don't want to. No, the thing is, they don't want to fix it. They want to change it. They want to turn this into a third world country. They want to put us on an equal fitting with third world countries, and that's not what we want. That's what liberals want.
Give me an example.
A bunch of mooches.
Give me an example of something that liberals want to do to put us on footing with a third world country. Because they're allowing third world people to come in here and they don't give a shit what third world people do, whether their customs are or whatever. They're allowing them to do whatever they want, and on top of that, giving them money for it. What are the customs?
While we go to shit. While our veterans go to shit, while our black homeless, our white homeless, our Asian homeless, all homeless Americans you don't give two shits about. You only give a shit about the poor people that are coming from other countries that have broken the law.
Okay. I would love to talk to you more. Unfortunately, I do got to move it on, but yeah, them customs and all of that, I would love to ask you. But Wolf, appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you. And you got a signal issue there too, but I'll keep it moving. Now he said customs. Now, what I was going to ask, and before I go back to the next caller, because he mentioned customs. I think a lot of you folks already know where I'm going with this. But in regards to customs and voting for Constitution against 2025 against Trump, says Twain the Square, that Project 2025 is rearing its ugly head against Trump. Simply by way of yes or no, before I go into my next rant, By way of yes or no in the comments, how many of you folks, because Trump said he ain't got nothing to do with Project 2025. By way of yes or no, how many of you folks believe he does have something to do or is trying to implement at least parts of Project 2025? By way of yes or no, how many of you folks believe he does favor the direction of Project 2025? Now on YouTube, I'm getting a lot, mostly no's on YouTube and mostly yeses on TikTok. Wow. I will tell you this, for many of you folks who may not be aware, the foreword, when you first open up that 900-page document, the foreword for Project 2025 was written by none other than J.D. Vance. So J.D. Vance has written the foreword for Project 2025. I'll leave it at that, and you can figure it out from. Looking in the comments, UK been taking asylums for a long time, and they still doing great. Well, according to my last caller, it's the customs they're coming over here with, which another topic I wanted to run into. It's been, 2 days? They debated on Tuesday. Actually, been more than that. 2 days, today is Friday, so 3 days. Obviously, the most memorable line from the presidential debate, Trump versus Kamala Harris, about the Haitian immigrants eating cats and dogs. Have any of you seen any evidence? It's been 3 days. You seen any evidence of people eating dogs? Have you seen any photos of people eating dogs? Have you seen anybody admitting it? Evidence of people eating dogs. I have not seen it. Has anybody seen any verifiable evidence of people eating dogs? Let me know in the comments. Yes, I've been there. Okay, so going back to the box, eating dogs. I have not seen it. We'll keep the program moving on. Eating dogs. Well, I wonder what does a dog even taste like. Jesus Christ. Takesha, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Woof, woof, with a little barbecue sauce. Eating dogs. What say you?
Let me say something, Nelson. It's a report, they've been reporting on this, and it came out that those people in that town are receiving bomb threats. They had to evacuate two schools because what Trump and J.D. Vance ugly ass said on a national stage. I think that is so sad. And in Trump little ugly press conference today after, he got through talking crazy, they told him what was going on, and he still was doubling down.
Yeah, he's still saying it.
Care about nobody but himself. Do you think, as a person that's running for office, if you could calm down a situation by taking back what you said, wouldn't you do that, handsome? You have no proof that this stuff is going on. These people are telling you it's not going on, and you still double down after you see the harm that the lie is causing. Do you think that's presidential?
Well, let me. I got a long answer for that. I don't have a yes or no. I will say this. I watched a pretty lengthy video on YouTube where a guy went to that town and interviewed folks. There are a lot of people in that town that's saying this is happening. However, all of the Haitians that he interviewed, when they were asked, "Are you eating cat?" the Haitians overwhelmingly laughed it off, and you could tell based on their reaction, they thought the dude was crazy for even asking. But the white citizens in that town overwhelmingly think it's happening. They're citing Facebook posts. None of them are citing where they actually saw it. But the white citizens in Springfield, Ohio, overwhelmingly see the thing is happening.
Handsome, I watched the video from a white lady that lives in Springfield, and that's exactly what she said. She said nobody's saying it but the white people.
Yeah.
She said nobody's starting the controversy but the white people.
Well, there's one exception. There's one exception.
I'm telling you what the lady said on the video.
There's one exception. There's a black guy running for mayor in that town.
Baby, ain't nobody standing that fool with that sweatshirt on. I posted his dumb self yesterday. We ain't even finna entertain that. You go on his page. He's very obsessed with the Haitian people. We gonna counter him out. We not standing that fool. But listen, that lady said nobody's walking around with AKAs and guns on but the white people.
I hear there's some.
My thing is this: cut the crap.
So you don't.
You're playing with people. You're playing with people's lives, man. This is no longer funny. This is a serious situation. And if those people were really in this, don't you think they would have mugshots? Let me tell you something. People love their pets. Them people will be on TV crying like they lost their mama if somebody done stole their pet and ate it.
Yeah.
Come on.
Here's one of the things I will bring up also, because I've had no shortage of callers who point out that in Haiti, it is part of their custom to eat these animals. Little Haiti, there are Haitians in Florida. There are Haitians in the New York area. I have not heard them being accused of eating cats and dogs. So there are other Haitians in this country in pockets. Huh?
Because it's a lie, Hanson. Yeah. It's a lie.
Then what's the purpose of doing it?
And it's gone too far.
Why do you think he would lie about this?
You got that. First of all, J.D. Vance started that. And J.D. Vance sleeps with couches. Ain't nobody finna believe J.D. Vance on anything he says. Come on, Hanson. Let's be... Who take J.D. Vance serious?
The MAGA voters?
People that don't know no better.
The Trump supporters.
People that don't know no better.
The Trump supporters...
People that don't know no better.
The Trump supporters believe he's a legitimate
candidate. People that don't know no better. People that don't know no better.
All right.
Let me tell you something, Hanson. Let me tell you something. You got people around here mad at Taylor Swift, throwing away their concert tickets, burning their stuff they bought. Do them fools know that girl already got their money? Ain't nobody losing but them. You losing your money, you idiot. That woman already got paid. It ain't like that money recycle when you wear that stuff. These people are crazy.
Wow. Is that really happening? People throwing their tickets away?
Yes.
I don't have an explanation.
She already made the money, Handsome. That's you losing your money, throwing them tickets away, you idiot. People have gone stark, rave, crazy in this country.
Why do you think that is, though? What would...
You know what it is.
I have to ask you, though. That's why you on here.
It's that orange fake hair diaper wearing food.
There's no evidence.
It's running around. I'm sorry.
Diapers?
I'm sick of him.
Diapers? He don't wear diapers.
Like leaky cheeks is what I call him. I call him leaky cheeks. I'm sick of leaky cheeks. We ain't seen no foolishness like this until leaky cheeks got in office. It's getting ridiculous.
Well, some folks are suggesting that, look, the economy under Trump, they're suggesting that...
Let me tell you something. I don't care if we were so rich till we could just buy houses, lands, and all that. I don't care when you got a whole country divided, when you got people getting threats, when you got people can't even get along. Whoop the damn do about some money.
What about folks who might suggest you have Trump derangement syndrome? I got somebody in the comments right now, Pharaoh Mind, saying you are unhinged. You just off the chain. You're unhinged. Is it? Do you?
I don't get screwed to doors, so I'm not unhinged. I'm not a hinge, so I couldn't be unhinged. How about that?
Okay, I don't know what to do with that.
I'm not standing these folks. I don't belong on a door. I'm not a hinge, so I can't be unhinged. How about that? Right. Hinges belong on a door.
So you do believe that now let me ask you just flat out, do you think we have an immigration problem at all?
Nobody's not saying we didn't have one, but my problem is this. They're only focused on the brown and black people. You got more people coming in that's immigrants too. Nobody's saying anything about them. Yeah, when did Trump talk about them? Who is he talking about deporting?
He said the largest deportation in U.S. history. That's all he said.
Who is he talking about?
We got to assume everybody, wouldn't he be?
Stop it. See, I get sick of you doing that. You know you're lying. You know exactly who he talking about. He talking about the ones he always complain about.
He didn't reference any skin color. He said,
you know what, Handsome.
Okay,
I'm not doing this with you.
Here's the answer. Who is he talking about? He's talking about people who are here illegally that should not be here.
You know what, Handsome? Let me explain something to you. I'm not going to do this with you today. I'm not going to let you run around a circle and come back with a lie. You know exactly what he's talking about because he talk about them all the time.
He talks about people that are here.
The ones coming to take the black jobs. You know, those.
But they're here illegally. He's saying he wants to get rid of the ones that are here illegally. Is that... Let me ask you
When they
something.
asked him how he gonna do that and how you gonna find out who illegal, is he gonna go to door to door? He said, yeah. How you gonna knock on every door in the United States and find an illegal? That's quite a plan, I tell you. That's the concept of a plan.
Well, it actually can be done. It just would be
handsome.
What?
Handsome.
What?
By the time they get to all them doors, it'll be 85,000 more people born. They're gonna have to go right back to them doors again. Stop it, handsome.
So what do you think should be done though about folks that are here illegally? Should they be allowed to stay?
I don't, you know how I feel. I don't have a problem with people trying to get a better life. I really don't. Because I can't judge those people. I've never been in their situation. And if they coming illegally and they trying to have a better life or they running from some, my heart just won't let me not have a heart for what they trying to do for their family. So you asking the wrong person.
Can we afford to take folks who ain't been vetted? We don't know what their criminal history is. Is that a good idea?
We don't know the criminal backgrounds of the ones that's from here. They doing the most killing. We ain't trying to get them out of here.
So the fact that we don't know the criminal history of these folks, that's not
handsome. According to the numbers, more Americans commit crimes than immigrants. Do you think them people gonna come over here illegally and commit a crime to find out they here illegally to send them back? Come on, handsome. Don't do that. You're a smart man.
But I'm seeing photos.
I'm very smart, man. Don't do that.
I'm giving you what I'm seeing. I'm seeing videos of immigrants.
It doesn't matter what you see. You come on, handsome. You got it. You smarter than that. Come on now.
But I gotta ask you this question. I'm seeing immigrants, and by the way, top dog, thank you for that renewable. I'm seeing folks with long rifles outside of apartment buildings in Aurora, Colorado, spray painting Venezuela on the building. Should we just ignore that?
Handsome.
You got my attention.
Handsome, let's be for real.
It happened.
You said you saw a video?
The word Venezuela spray painted on a building.
You said you saw a video.
Yeah.
Of a Venezuelan.
No. Several Venezuelans entering folks' apartments by force with long rifles.
You said you saw a video.
I saw it on the news, by the way. You can watch it.
On which station?
It was a local affiliate in Colorado.
Which one was it?
I don't know what ABC.
Who was it affiliated with?
ABC, NBC, and Fox. I mean, you can go on YouTube. By the way, I get that you think I'm being sarcastic, but this actually happened, and you can see that. That actually did take place.
Okay, I'm still saying, handsome, they're not committing. It's not all of them. That's all I'm saying. That's just like you trying to group every black man with every black man that commit a murder. That's just like saying all black folks are killers. All black folks are lazy. All black folks this, all black folks that. Y'all don't like it when people do it to y'all. So why are y'all doing it to other people?
Okay. So in other words, you believe they're being stereotyped?
I think they're being, listen, again, you don't like it if people say all white people are trailer trash. That's grouping every white person with maybe some trailer trash. You can't keep doing that, man. That's wrong.
I mean, I get that point. Last but not least, last question. Why are you voting in November? What is your number one issue? I'm assuming it's not the border.
I could care less about that border, handsome.
Care less about it. Wow.
I have a granddaughter. I have a granddaughter.
All right.
And I would not like to see a day when she's assaulted and she got to carry around that hurt with her because you didn't overturn Roe versus Wade and made a decision that she's not allowed to get rid of her rapist child. That's one of my concerns right there. I think that the hate needs to stop. And I don't think we can get rid of the hate until we get rid of the person that incited the most hate. And I don't care what nobody said. Donald Trump is hateful. He's a divider. And I don't hate him because I pray for the Lord to save his soul because God knows it's dark. But I'm sick of Donald Trump. I want him to go away.
Wow.
When you got mamas that ain't speaking to children because they don't agree with them politically, that's a problem. We've always been on different sides and been able to still be still be mother, daughter, father, son. But this division that has taken place, that's what wears on me. It's ridiculous. And until he stops saying stuff that divides us all, he definitely don't need to be back in that White House.
Takesha, appreciate you coming through. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anytime. And I will continue. But I guess one of the things, if there is one thing that I by far cannot disagree with on, Trump being divisive is, that certainly is. I mean, I think General Milley and Petraeus were saying that. I mean, the whole moniker is fuck your feelings. I mean, there's no unity intended in that. So, I mean, a lot of folks believe Trump has a much better direction for this country, but even those folks are saying, yeah, he's a dick, yeah, he's an asshole, yeah, I mean, but so if divisiveness is your number one concern, then yeah, I think most folks believe that Trump has been fairly divisive. Now, in the comments, Diogenes, you said, what politician isn't divisive? I think all of them can be divisive, but I don't put Trump in the same level with Bush, Obama, Biden, Reagan. I mean, Trump is doing things that are, when I say divisive, I mean getting involved in fights that wasn't even aimed at you. Like the whole, let's say when the guy was taking a knee during the anthem, get that son of a bitch off the field. He just jumped into a fight that wasn't even about him. Another example, during the Hurricane Katrina disaster down there in New Orleans, we saw a lot of people die. You saw what happened in 2005. Kanye West, who was still somewhat of a member of the black community back then, Kanye West got on television and said George W. Bush does not like black people. I think a lot of you folks remember that. Bush didn't say nothing to attack Kanye West back for a fairly awful statement. Trump would have. So the point I'm trying to make, Trump gets in fights where a lot of other politicians would just let stuff roll down their back. Now, I agree all politicians can be divisive. The job sometimes, that's part of the job. You're going to pass policies and implement legislation that everybody ain't going to agree with. But Trump gets into personal, Nikki Haley being a bird brain. What other politician does stuff like that? That's the kind of stuff we're talking about, where he takes divisiveness to a different level. Looking in the comments, Trump uses burner phones. I don't see any issue with that. I mean, who knows? I mean, they're doing everything undercover. Other than the fact that when you use a phone, it should be the people's phone, the people's data. So maybe you don't want people to know, but my guess is all politicians have done that to some degree. So glad I kept scrolling lives to find yours again. Handsome Maya, thank you very much. By the way, I'll go back to the box. If you enjoy civilized dialogue from all sides of the aisle without any concern of the host block banning or censoring you, you are in the right place. Follow the program for my TikTok viewers, YouTube subscription, if you will, Monday through Friday. We're here. We will be here this weekend as well. Asking two questions. Do we have an immigration problem? I know this sounds dumb to some folks. And also, I'm asking, do we have an immigration problem that is this big or is it being overstated? Do you believe the immigration problem in this country, the border issue in this country, is being stated as bad as it is, or is there folks in this country that might be overstating it? Such as the claim that Haitian immigrants are eating cats and dogs. Has any of you folks seen any evidence yet of Haitian immigrants eating dogs? Any solid evidence that Haitian immigrants are eating dogs? Have you seen any of that? Going to the box, eating dogs. Trump stated at a rally today, somebody took my dog, indicating, kind of be an example, suggesting that, he would have been a citizen, indicating he's speaking on behalf of one of the citizens. Someone took my dog. Have you seen any evidence that Haitian immigrants are eating dogs? Cal, what say you?
I said it yesterday and the day before and the day before. It's not happening.
So
there are two videos out there that everybody is talking about. One of them is the Venezuelan gang that were abusing other migrants. And then there was the one of the young black woman, African American, not Haitian, not from any other country, born and raised in Ohio, where she had a mental health breakdown and she ate a cat. Those are the only two things they're talking about. But once you nail them down, they pivot to just say, well, it's just too many immigrants. Well, now it's starting to affect those people in those areas because now they got all of these people from all around the world. And now Trump is talking about he's going to go to Smithfield and he's going to go to Aurora and they're going to go down there and see what's going on. And now these people are being threatened. And look, those people were brought there for a specific reason. They're not illegal. They're in temporary protected status.
Right. But have you heard this? But have you heard the stories? I watched that video yesterday because there's a guy who went to the town and interviewed a bunch of folks, and he's asking them, translating and asking them, are you folks eating cats? How much you're getting from the government? And one of the things I was shocked is that there were so many Haitians willing to let him ask personal questions, and they were answering them, looked like genuine answers, but they all laughed when he asked, are you eating cats? And what's shocking is, while all of the Haitians really found it funny that he would even be asking them about eating cats, most of the white people in town believed it was absolutely happening. How does that take place? How does that happen?
Propaganda. It's real. It works. Those people are down there and they were advocated for by Amazon because they built one of those mega processing plants down there. Smithfield itself only has about 50,000 people. Now they have migrated around 15,000 people, and the vast majority of them work in industry.
Yeah.
So why in the hell, if they were working at Amazon, would they be eating cats and dogs? They are literally making more money than the people who live there.
Bro, to answer your question, folks are suggesting that, listen, in Haiti, that is part of their customs to eat house pets, and they just came to America and brought their custom with them.
Man, look, if that were true,
yeah,
then where are the pet owners?
That's a good point.
Pet owners, people love their pets, man. You can't just snatch somebody's dog and then they just not gonna say nothing.
That's a good point. I have not seen any video featuring pet owners that are saying my cat or my dog disappeared or I caught somebody eating it. That didn't happen in that video at all.
Right, and so and now when your last caller says and even you admit that he just likes to create division. I mean, these are the types of things like I don't even understand how somebody could say. How is he causing division? He's running around telling people that immigrants are taking black people's jobs. That's literally division. Telling them, hey, they taking something from you, trying to make us just like them.
It's working. It's working. I mean, I got members of my family that live in Chicago that are dealing with the influx of immigrants, and they're talking Trump. It is working.
Right, because of who sent those people?
Ron DeSantis and Greg Abbott
sent them, but now they mad at Kamala Harris.
Yeah. Well, they're gonna suggest that under the Biden-Harris team, they didn't do enough to secure the border. But wait a minute, you would admit that the Biden-Harris team, when they first took office, they did roll back some of the really tough policies from Trump, did they not?
They did what every president does. They said, we're going to get rid of the inhumane policies under the Trump administration. That zero tolerance, and yes, they did remove some of that stuff.
But think about what you're saying. They got rid of as you say, the inhumane policies from the Trump administration. And now you got Americans in some of these towns saying what's going on with all these immigrants here is inhumane. They're not, in addition to the eating of cats and dogs, they're also suggesting these folks are being given driver's licenses with little to no actual instruction or training, and they're having accidents all over the damn city.
They have to follow the same process we do to get a driver's license. They're not just out there just handing out driver's licenses to all of the immigrants. Now, I
don't know about that. They went to in that video I seen about a half hour long, they went to the DMV and they didn't even want to talk about the process to get them driver's license. They kind of indicated that, yeah, we might be bending a few rules. I don't know if I feel confident agreeing with you on that.
Well, I'm not sure what Secretary of State or DMV or whatever would allow people to walk in and say, I'm an immigrant, here's a driver's license, because that means the city is now liable if they're telling them to do that. I haven't investigated, so I'm not going to speak on that.
Okay.
But what I do know is that if you come from a different, that's like somebody coming from Kentucky and they move to New York. They're not going to be very good drivers when they first start out. I'm not making excuses, but I'm saying that's how it is.
Yeah, but you're talking about people that came from a third world country that they didn't even own a car and now being introduced to cars for the first time.
And that's why I don't necessarily, I don't believe, I would have to see the video you're talking about. Yeah. So I don't want to speak on that, but people are getting upset about things that have been happening in this country forever. What do you think happens when the people came from Afghanistan, all of the people that we brought in? What happened with all of the people that come from Moldova or those European countries when they have dictators and they run, they escape, they come to America? They are using the same process. People make it seem like when Trump was in office, none of the immigrants were getting a stipend from the government. They weren't getting housing. They weren't getting these things. They always been getting them. Now somebody has just brought it to the forefront and said it's a problem. Now then people saying it like it just started yesterday, or when Biden took office. That's just, it's not true. They're using it to demean and demoralize the immigrant community. And yes,
I think the issue is exactly what you talked about with black jobs in Springfield. It's in reverse. A lot of those immigrants are probably taking white jobs and white resources, which is why the white community in that town is so outraged. It's affecting them directly because that, like I said, the videos I've seen, the overwhelming majority of people complaining about them are white. So they're taking their resources. That's what they're talking about.
Yeah, they're coming there to do a job that they said was there for them. They have a Republican governor. They have a Republican governor that obviously made the deal with the government to allow those temporarily protected status people to come.
Yeah. But is that not something to legitimately complain about? You got a small mid-sized town, and all of a sudden 15, 20, some estimate as much as 30% of their population is suddenly immigrants. Can you imagine, in regards to the cultural argument, let's imagine somebody from a different country with a different culture instantly represented 15, 20, 30% of your town. That would change the fundamentals of that town significantly, would it not?
That town was drowning. That town had nothing. That town, if the people was mad, they should have went to those city county meetings, the city hall meetings when Amazon was negotiating to bring that big plant there. They should have known in a city with 50,000 people, and then they want to develop a plant that's going to hire more than half of the city. They didn't have enough residents. That's why they made the deal to bring in those TPS people. Don't be mad at the government. Be mad at your mayor. Be mad at your governor, not the mayor, because he wasn't the one negotiating. No, mayors don't negotiate tax breaks.
Which really sucks is that you're the mayor of a town and you're running on a certain platform, and all of a sudden they flood your town out with immigrants, really hurting your own campaign and hurting your own administration. You weren't prepared for this.
It's helping his city. He can complain all he wants to, but that city was pretty much dead. There was no production going on. That's why that's why they allowed Amazon to come in and build that distribution center there.
Yeah, but all your citizens are now they're hating each other. There's all this divisiveness in town. That was not happening.
Well, I mean, look, progress is difficult. You can't just, they would sit there and be mad at their mayor because there ain't no jobs in the city. And then when they bring more than enough jobs and they need other people to come in and fulfill those jobs, then they mad about that. What? I mean, the city was drowning.
Well, there's an easy solution. I got to move it on, but there's an easy solution. Next time we got too many jobs, bring more white people here. I got to move it on, Denkel. Thank you. All right, moving on with the program. And I see in the comments, New World Team T says, I am Haitian, bro. We don't eat pets, bro. Our Haitian forefathers fought the Battle of Savannah to feed the United States. Who else had done it? Don't be ungrateful. I'm not in the camp to suggest that Haitians are eating pets. I'm just simply saying Trump is stating it. And I think it's worthy of having a dialogue and a conversation on it because he is doubling, if not tripling down on it. Most likely for the remainder of the political the political campaign. Trump, all of his rallies are going to feature him talking about Haitians eating pets. That's not going to go away. So it is worthy of discussing. Now, in the comments, Marcus Forks, thank you for the super chat. As a black person, we advocate and fight for everyone else. Now we're fighting for immigrants. Sometimes I wonder, would they do it for us? Wow. Wow, shit. As a black person, we advocate and fight for everyone else. Now we're fighting for immigrants. Sometimes I wonder, would they do it for us? I'm gonna leave it to the comment section on that one. Wow, that's deep, man. That's deep. Trump says no taxes on overtime. You know, and it sounds great. I used to be one who worked a lot of overtime. I would have loved during that period to not have to pay taxes on overtime. However, while I think that would be fantastic for a lot of American workers, wouldn't be the first time a politician promised something and found out they couldn't do it. That's a ton of money. And we're talking about we have a huge deficit. You're talking about the Biden administration has spent too much money. Alter ego. Appreciate the sub. Thank you. You're talking about the Biden administration has spent too much money and we're deep in debt. And all of a sudden Trump comes in, he's going to not tax tips. He's going to give all the tax money we would have collected on overtime. You pay more money on overtime. As someone who used to work a lot of overtime, I can tell you the taxes on overtime go way up. All of that tax money is going to be missing. Just like we're saying, Kamala Harris has no policy. She hasn't answered any questions. Number one question is to former President Trump, how do you make up all of that missing money? That's going to be a lot of money. All of the union employees in this case, you know how many folks work hourly? How much overtime? I mean, that is a ton of money. So I don't know how he would explain that, which leads me to conclude that that's probably a promise that won't be met. Maybe I'm wrong. I know my MAGA side. You guys definitely think I'm full of shit on this one, but my guess is that's probably a promise that won't happen. That's just way too much fucking money. Going back to the box though, thank you folks that are tapping the screen. Get the likes up to about 40,000. Got almost 700 of you in there. We should be around 50, F-I-D-D-Y. Tap the screen, get the likes up, smash that like button on YouTube. Around 100, we can do that. We certainly got enough. If you guys would, certainly helps out the algorithm of the program, brings in more MAGA. We are MAGA friendly. We go left of Bernie Sanders, Trump having dinner with QAnon. Everyone gets to speak. You don't have to worry about being blocked, banned, or censored because you got a different opinion with anybody, including yours truly. I believe in free speech. We make it happen. That's why I have my own tax consultant. That helps. If you're claiming to be independent, why do you only have a MAGA hat behind you and not a Harris hat? Great question. The reason I have a MAGA hat is simple. I personally, maybe once again, a lot of times you guys think I'm wrong. I personally believe that when it comes to media and free speech, conservatives, Republicans, and particularly MAGA often get censored and banned in the mainstream media. So I've always had the MAGA hat, despite my own political leanings on a lot of subjects. I've always had the MAGA hat there to let you know the program is MAGA friendly. You're not going to get blocked, banned, or censored simply because you support Trump or you're MAGA. That's why the hat is. I don't think Kamala Harris supporters have to worry about that. We've seen the debate where they're fact-checking Trump and not fact-checking Kamala Harris. So I don't think I need to have a Kamala Harris hat. They already know. So I do have the MAGA hat for that simple reason. Going back to the box, We'll keep it moving with, I don't know what I'm looking at there, Gene. Good afternoon, Gene. We need equal representation. Kamala Harris supporters, Democrats need equal. Okay, all right. All right, fair enough. We'll see if we can get our hands on a Harris hat. Do they make those? Well, the camouflage hats. The camouflage. Okay, we'll see. They have no problem sending trillions to other countries, but won't help out their own citizens by taking less money from them. The double standard is disgusting. Well, I don't know what's going on with the box, but while the box resets, I'll respond to that question. The reason we would rather do stuff for other citizens as opposed to helping out Americans in this country is simple. We are a capitalist country. Everything we do for someone, we want a return on it. There is money and profit to be made by helping out the Ukraine, helping out Israel. You get favors in all sorts of extra provisions, such as you can now put military bases in Ukraine. You can do surveillance on Russia much closer. There's a lot to gain by helping out the Ukraine. You don't gain shit by helping out poor people in America. I hate to say it like that, but the powers that be in this country, the true capitalists that are very successful at it, they don't see any gain by helping out us average everyday folks. That's why they don't do it. That's why they won't do it. Giving you, a home or an apartment or tuition assistance or rentals, they don't believe it. They don't benefit from that. Yeah, it'll help out America as a country, but them personally, they get a hell of a lot more of a return on the things that you are pushing back on. That is why you will always see money going overseas and not helping out you or I. They don't benefit from it. Capitalists want a return on their money. Looking in the comments, hey, Tim, Harris was inserted, not voted for to get the nomination. So tell me, who cares about democracy? I've had a million conversations on that. I'll go back to the box. But the fact is, the Democratic Party wants to defeat Trump. This democracy argument, okay, Harris comes along 3 months before the election, and the Republican Party expects the Democrats to have a vote where you got Whitmer and Gavin Newsom and maybe Harris and all of the Democrats fighting against each other, beating the shit out of each other, bruising each other up, telling all kinds of secrets and shit on each other, all vying for the position. Who does that help out the most? As opposed to just putting Kamala Harris there, unifying the party, and everybody getting along to defeat Trump. Who does it help out the most if they do things the way that the Kamala Harris detractors are saying, where you should have a vote, you shouldn't just put her in? Knowing damn well that everybody who is saying they should not have just put Kamala Harris in, they should have a vote. Everybody that's saying that is not going to vote for any liberal. You want them to fight because it benefits your side. And I think most Democrats know that. They know that the only reason that you're screaming democracy and there should be a vote is because at the end of the day, you benefit from it. Kamala Harris came along and the whole party is unified. That's not good for former President Trump. You'd rather have a vote. That's why that's the answer to that. Gen X, appreciate the super chat. Here's an idea. To make up for the loss, stop giving away billions to other countries, illegals, and to deadbeats who don't want to pay for their own tuition. Well, Gen X, I kind of gave you the spiel on that. There is no benefit to capitalists, successful capitalists in this country, to do what you're saying. There just is not. The money is made for. If you've seen any of the footage, YouTube, social media pages of all of the weapons we're giving the Ukrainians and how successful that shit is. I mean, there's a lot of drone footage. You can see drones. I mean, we got a lot of technology over there that's doing some really damaging shit to the Russians. All of that can be used as commercials to sell weapons to other countries. They're going to make a fortune off of that Ukraine assistance because all of that footage coming back, they can now, because we're one of the largest exporters of weapons. We sell weapons to every damn body. We can use that as free advertising. We don't have to tell you how great our weapon is. Here's 6 Russians we're blowing up right here. Here's a tank over here. They're making a fortune off of that. They don't make a fortune helping homeless people. Going back to the box, we'll try it again. Travelman, good afternoon, or better yet, good evening, welcome to the program. And keep in mind, folks, we don't want a socialist country. We want capitalism. Capitalism doesn't give a damn about poor people. So don't complain about the system that you want working as expected. Capitalists are going to capitalize. That's what they're doing. Once again, the box is problematic. We'll give it a second. Like you know everything, where you have, okay, you didn't spell that right, Fox. You said like you know everything. I suppose you're trying to criticize the host. You're asking me, where have I been? I've been international a few places. I haven't been to any damn war zones. But at the end of the day, I don't think you need to go anywhere to know capitalism is about making money. Capitalists don't want to give money away. That's, as you say, socialism. If they're giving away money, they expect a return on it. Even when capitalists make donations, they want to write the shit off on their taxes. They don't just give away free money. So all this help the homeless and help out Americans, that shit ain't gonna happen. Going back to the box. Box is really not working today. FSU. Think we got one here? Maybe it comes up. I'm trying to bring up other folks. FSU, good afternoon.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. So, is the immigration problem as bad as many suggest, or do you believe it may possibly be being overstated?
I mean, it's obviously overstated. A couple things. The tariffs and obviously a mass deportation will cripple our economy. We need immigrants. We always have. Most of the immigrants coming to the United States to work hard. Obviously send money back to their country, whatever country they came from.
But if they're coming over here, as Trump would say, and they're taking black and Hispanic jobs, and as you're pointing out, they're sending money back to their families and things like that, how is that not hurting the American economy? They're coming here, taking jobs from Americans, and then using the money they make to ship it out of the country. And you're telling me that won't hurt our country?
It's an interesting statement from Trump. I mean, he's the only president to actually lose jobs during his term. Look at our unemployment rate and just do a comparison to now to when he was in office. Obviously, we're much better. We're more employed. I think our real issue is wages. And I always look at issues, not so much as what the government can do to help people, but it's like, what are they doing to hurt people? And right to work states actively suppress wages. That's something that the Republican Party is a fan of, and that's what they're doing to actively hurt.
Yeah, you know something. And I as an individual who has lived in both the union state and the right to work state, I've worked for two unions, International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. I've worked for the CWA. I never could understand how the average working American was anti-union in favor of right to work. I agree with you. If you're making, you got a regular hourly paying job, why would you want to get rid of the union environment and go to right to work? That is, I still don't understand that. So I gotta agree with you there.
You could probably trace it back to the old Lyndon B. Johnson quote. You convince the lowest Caucasian man that he's better than the best colored man. It was the context of his quote back then. Yeah, that you'll know. I mean, he won't notice you picking his pocket.
And that's, because it's insane.
He's so busy looking down on other people that he'll give their money. That's what the people in those poor red states do. And it's changed from African American or minorities to Hispanics and migrants are the people that they're targeting now. Wow. But it's not just wages. When I was speaking about what the Republican Party is getting wrong and how they're hurting the American people, it's education. They want to get rid of the Department of Education. And listen, our education system in the United States has problems. It 100% does. But I'm confident that in the poorest state, in the poorest municipality, the poorest school district, you can go and become a doctor, become a lawyer. They have successful students, not just annually, every year. And that's something that the rest of the world marvels at. So it's not just wages, it's education, it's healthcare. I was on your live, I think you said it earlier this week or last week. We got $2 gas again, by the way, in most states, but or near it. But healthcare, access to healthcare is something that the Republican Party is just on the wrong side of.
Well, Trump was asked during the debate about his plan to repeal and he said he has a concept of a plan, which is, because we talked about Kamala Harris not having policies. I mean, Trump's been on the scene for like almost 9 years. That was one of his initial course plans he was talking about doing, is repealing, replacing. For 9 years later to say you just have a concept,
right? It's a fundamental thing. I mean, Tim, I see your lives. I'm a fan of what you do.
Thank you.
I don't know you from a can of paint, but I can say this. You know, our country is better if you and your family is healthy. Yeah. You guys will obviously, that will translate to your contributions to our economy if you are, and we should feel that way about all Americans.
But in a capitalist country, if I'm about making money, and I'm high on the hog, and I want to add more to my war chest, making sure my average neighbor is healthy doesn't add any money to me. In fact, I probably make more money if he's sick and having a cure him and things.
I strongly disagree. I'm gonna pivot right back to that. But what I will say is the Affordable Care Act was modeled after Romney. And again, I support some well-run Republican states and well-run Republicans. It was modeled after Romney from Massachusetts, and they did this in that state, before it was done nationally. And Massachusetts is one of the smartest top 5.
But Romney's a rhino now.
He's not. He's a Republican. Trump is a rhino. You know that. So,
Romney is history.
That's what you do when you ascend to a presidency. You look at well-run states and say, what are they doing well that we can model from? And again, Massachusetts, smartest. They produce top 5, most educated, output, healthiest. Those citizens in that state have done well since they've implemented healthcare for all of their citizens. So it's something that we should model back.
Fair enough. Well, I do gotta part ways with you, but before I do, go ahead. No, I was going to. The final question I was going to ask is, why are you vote? What is your number one reason to vote this November? Number one issue.
Rights. I think this is something that affects us all. We all have loved ones, women that are important in our lives, and what they're doing to the women, and they're the majority in this country, by the way. And I think that's what number one. I think we would be less divided if Kamala Harris, she's even offered to have somebody from, people, she's worked with Republicans and would have somebody in her cabinet that's a Republican. She's offered.
Do you believe that? She did say that. Do you believe she would actually appoint a Republican in her cabinet?
I do. I mean, Obama and Biden has this history of, and then Clinton. I think Democrats have shown that they're more likely to work across the aisle. So I don't think that's something that's insane. But I will say, I want to end with what you said about us this being a capitalistic country. It certainly is. The capitalism. Then if you're selling carrots and I want to buy carrots, it's nothing wrong with you selling your carrots and turning a profit. But it's a different thing. We've gotten to a place where you're diminishing the quality of your carrots. You don't want the EPA to look at it and make sure you have healthy carrots, and then you're taking more advantage of me as the consumer. I think that's where we're going now. Capitalism doesn't have to be that. Capitalism doesn't have to be when it's a hurricane.
Well, capitalism is about making capitalism is about making as much money as possible. And I know if I can give some of my profits to a politician that's now going to let me sell some of the rotten carrots and put less regulation on me, I'll sell my whole batch instead of having to throw some of them out. I mean, that's what's happened, is that we have a capitalist country where we have been removing regulations.
And that's exactly what I was about to go to. The government has a role to regulate the marketplace and ensure that you're selling healthy carrots and there's no monopolies in place. So I think the Republican Party has shifted to supporting corporations more so than they regulate the marketplace. They want to deregulate everything, and we've seen what happens when you deregulate. The train derailment, the banking industry, all of those things happen because of deregulation.
Well, but the counter argument is that deregulation also allows the corporations to make more profit, and there's a hope that they'll pass that on and create jobs. I mean, some regulations can just essentially be a hindrance to success. I mean, all of them, I agree, bad things can happen, but it can also prevent good things.
I mean, do you have to talk to the people in East Palestine, Ohio, where the train derailment happened, or the people that were affected by the housing market crashing? Again, I think there's a balance. There's a place for regulation, and for companies to be profitable. I don't think you could look at any Democrats and say, oh, they don't want corporations to be profitable. They just don't want, they want to regulate the marketplace and don't want people to be taken advantage of.
Yeah, you're saying there's a place of regulation and there's a place for people to be profitable. So they put you in the middle somewhere. They want to be up here. They don't want any blocks. So I get your point though, but they want to be able to do whatever the hell they want. If they could, they'd like to be able to dump waste in your backyard. They don't want any regulation. I got to move it on, no FS. Thank you.
Well, always a pleasure, man. You have a good one.
Absolute, same. Moving on to the program. Tap the screen, get the likes up to about 60,000. A lot of lazy thumbs in here. You guys can't show your boy some love on the program. Let your thumbs not be lazy. Let's try, see if we can get up to about 60,000. Helps out the algorithms on the program. Having a bit of trouble today in regards. I mean, just no love for the program at all. Wow. Looking in the comments on YouTube, how healthy would Americans be if Kamala turns everyone gay? How is that done? How do you turn people? Wow, that's a hell of a question. Now, you use the rainbow, so I'm assuming you mean gay, but how do you turn everyone gay? Alter ego, thank you. Jesus. Come on, people. 20 million people crossing the border every day. Infinity, your statement says, come on, people. 20 million people crossing the border every day. You really believe that? It's only 350 million plus people in this country. You're telling me the country's population increases by 10% every 2 days? Do you realize what you're saying? And I see in the comments, I was going to say exactly the same thing that one of my viewers, Watson Bradley, said. He says, blame Trump. The wild numbers, this is the whole purpose of the program. Do we have an immigration problem or is it being overstated? 20 million people crossing the border every day. Jesus. Okay, I'm gonna move on with the program. Just think about that. 20 in a country of only 350 plus million. 20 million every day. Okay, a lot of false information spewed here, says Chris Ruth. Yeah, there may be a little bit of it. There may be a little bit. 20 million is not true, and you know that it's not true. So why are you repeating it? Because I believe in free speech. I don't believe it's my job. I'm not an ABC moderator. I don't think it's my job to tell you what you can and can't say. I think there's enough intelligent and newsworthy people that are here. We got almost 2,000 people between both platforms. There's enough of you folks, and you know what the hell is right and wrong. I don't need to fact check it. I'll read it out so that later on, if I ever say somebody once said, there's 20 million people. No, there's no way in hell nobody would have ever said that. Well, now, at least 1,500 of you can remember the day it actually happened. Going back to the box, I mean, like I said, I don't know what to do with that. We'll try it again with Pat Carlson, friend of the program, one of my subscribers. I always get his subscribers first digs. Pat Carlson, good evening. Welcome to the country. Welcome to the program. Somebody said, what if the country becomes better than what it has ever been before? That's going to be a... Pat, your signal's going in and out. Pat, are you there? All right, we'll move it on. See, in regards to your comment, what if the country becomes better than it ever has before? Let's be clear. America has never been an immigrant-friendly country. Now, I know they have on the Statue of Liberty, bring us your tired, your weary, your poor. I've said this on many programs. There are 3 statements that it goes back in American history that are simply feel-good statements. You know, somebody passed away, and you're grieving over the loss of a loved one, and somebody walks up to you, look, man, if you ever need anything, call me. They don't really want your ass to call them. They're just saying that because they know you're in mourning to make you feel better. America has 3 of those type statements. 1, bring us your tired, your weary, your poor. 2, all men are created equal. 3, separation of church and state. Those are all akin to, if you need anything, call me. They didn't actually mean that shit. And once they started being held accountable for saying it, it's pretty clear they didn't mean it. But in regards to bring us your tired, your weary, your poor, every group of folks that have come to this country all have been faced with resistance. The Polish, the Italian, the Chinese, the Japanese, you name it. We didn't even let the Jewish here trying to escape the Holocaust. We called them communists. We didn't even let them in the country. America is not an immigrant-friendly country. And I will tell you my humble opinion why, which I'm sure a lot of you will disagree on this. We know in this country, one reason why we're so suspicious and we're so hesitant to open our door to immigrants is because we know personally that we were the worst immigrants to ever come to this country. We know what we did. I'm talking about the original colonists. We know what we did when they opened the door and let us in the country. So now we're fearful that someone else would do to us what we did to the original inhabitants. And what do we say? They're coming here to change the culture. They're coming here to take over. All of the things that we did, we expect the immigrants to do it. They're going to come change the language. They're going to come fuck with our religion. All of those things are exactly what we did when we came to the country. So now we have basically an endless belief that someone, you ever heard of the phrase take one to know one? We have that type of feeling. A thief is always expecting somebody to try to steal their shit. That's how it works. If you're doing something, you expect everybody else to be capable of it. That's how we started. Going to the box, tap the screen, 70,000 is possible, stick the ruler. Good. I'm having a serious issue with the box. Some guests are coming up, some are not.
Hey, what's going on, Tim?
Hey, what's going on with you? Overstated, or do we have a serious problem at the border? What say you?
Yeah, I think it's overstated, and I think that's the reason why Kamala didn't really worry about it, or neither did Joe Biden worry about it, because once again, the proof is in the pudding. You know, they came up with the bipartisan bill, and when it came down to voting on getting the border straight, they put it down because they said what was in it, but then they turned around what was in it and did a single bill by itself.
Yeah.
And still supported Ukraine and still supported Palestine and any other place. So at the end of the day, the border really wasn't a real serious problem. Now, did the media show you the stuff that you needed to see to make you think it was a problem? Yes, they did. But when people went down there, they didn't see everything that they were glorifying on TV. Just being honest.
Well, this town, Springfield, Ohio, where they're apparently consuming cats and dogs, it does sound like the people there have been, well, we'll talk about that in a minute, but it does sound like the people there have had a large population of immigrants pushed on them almost overnight.
Oh, man, hold on. I had to, oh, shit.
What are you eating, a dog quarter, a hind quarter from some puppy or something?
No. Yo, I get it. I heard it was like one story, a man walking down the street with some ducks in his hand, and then I heard the lady had a mental issue and she ate a cat.
Yeah.
But I think neither one of these people were actually immigrants. I think they were United States citizens, and for whatever reason they did what they did. But the whole thing of it is trying to put it on immigrants, is to try to say, okay, they went way up north from the southern border. Who's sending them up? Who's sending them to Ohio? Is it Hot Wheels? Is it DeSantis?
I don't know about the Ohio's, because Ohio's a Republican state. I don't think DeSantis and who's Texas Governor Greg Abbott, I don't think they would have picked Ohio because that's a Republican state. Even a mayor in Springfield is a Republican. That was done by the Biden administration, I think.
So anyway, it's laughable, man. It's a serious issue, but it's just so laughable because even the vice president, when she was up there, she was just like, what? So every time I hear that, again, I go back to he said they're violently going in these cities. but they're taking jobs. So are they violently working as well? I mean, I don't.
Yeah, the violent. Yeah, that's, and I see in the comments. Someone said, 1/4 of your city being illegal immigrants is crazy. They're not illegals. Those Haitians are not illegal immigrants, and that's one of the issues. Is that the right? Anybody that's undocumented, the right is grouping them all up as illegal. If you're here seeking asylum, you're not here illegal. Which is why the Trump's 18 million number is way off. The asylum seekers are not illegal immigrants. Illegal means your ass ran across the border or overstayed your visa. That's not these people. So the terminology is wrong. But the eating of dogs and cats, stick.
Yeah.
Talk to me.
Yeah. Man, I don't know where he got that from, other than he's seen something that happened one time, and then he's seen something else that happened another time, and then he just equivalated that they were black, so they must be Haitian, and just ran with that. And he's got the other side, and I call the other side MAGA, believing it. Like he said it, so they believe it, and that's all they need. That he said it, and they believe it. And that's a problem, especially when you don't do your research. You just, he said it, so it happened. You know?
I've had a lot of MAGA defenders, so you may have a valid point there. Fancy Prancy in the comments says something that actually makes, in my opinion, some sense. She states they're trying to turn Ohio blue. I don't know if they're trying, but this certainly could make that take place. If you pack that in, certainly right now, this is what I said, even with the Hispanic immigrants coming to this country. The way the right is treating immigrants, you're guaranteeing them. Folks like you hear Lyndon Johnson say, I'm going to have Negroes voting this way for 100 years. The way they're treating immigrants, you're guaranteeing they're going to vote right or vote left for a long time.
But this is the thing. Whose fault is that? That's not. It's not like the Democrats are saying, we're gonna do the same thing and just don't worry about it. Give me your vote. Is different. Yeah. So like, whose fault is that you have a bad image with immigrants? If you're out there talking it, don't try to say you love everybody. Don't try to say that you would do anything for anybody, because you won't. Because if you did, then it wouldn't be a problem that those immigrants are coming over trying to seek asylum. It wouldn't be a problem that these women and children who you call rapists and murderers would be trying to get into this country.
Yeah,
it's a problem only because you guys are weak. You guys that are worried about the border and worried about somebody that you have 20 steps ahead of, you're already an American citizen. Mm. You're 20 steps ahead. You've had the right to go to school. You've had the right to even go to college. We have special Pell Grants and different type of loans that you can get to go to school. Hell, even if you got a community college degree, it doesn't matter. It boosts you. So again, you're 20 steps ahead, because all of these things are still out there. No matter how much the left talk shit, how much the right talk shit, these things are out there. We all know you can go get it. Now, if you want to work on your credit, that's different. But still, that's you. So if you're one of these weak people worried about immigrants coming over here, taking your job, black job, Latino job, whatever type of job, you need to really, really look inside yourself and say, you know what? I'm 20 steps ahead. What the fuck am I complaining about?
I'll answer that. In regards to being 20 steps ahead, what the fuck do you have to complain about? Great Scott in the comments. Isn't that a term from Back to the Future, the old guy? Great Scott. Great Scott says we're not 20 steps ahead of them when they're given $3,000 a month. Are immigrants being given $3,000 a month? Is that really happening?
Hold on, Tim. Did those kids that were in a shiny, aluminum foil bag laying on the floor in a cage, did they look like they was getting $3,000 a month?
Just reading what I saw.
Is that a $3,000 resort?
Not only that, but I'll follow up. I'll follow up by saying if you're getting $3,000 a month tax free, you don't need to eat a cat or a dog. I mean, it doesn't make any sense at that point.
It doesn't make any sense. So again, the images, and everybody has seen it, whether it was the Obama administration, whether it was the Trump administration, and now the Biden administration. We've seen what these people look like at the border. We see some of them come over with MAGA gear. We've seen some of them come over with Biden gear. We've seen some of them come over with cell phones. But guess what? Just because they got a cell phone doesn't mean they got it from the left or the right. Maybe they had a cell phone the whole time from Nicaragua, and they were able to just do what they do because that is South America. We don't know what they got going on. They may intermingle and intertwine with each other when it comes to telecommunications. But people still see these things and still say, these people are getting so much money a month. Well, goddamn, get your ass up, right? You're a Republican. Put your bootstraps on and get out there and get that shit.
All right, Stick.
About these people. Yeah, you've been over here. You are ahead of the race.
Is it possibly jealousy involved?
Oh, it's a lot of jealousy involved. The jealousy that's involved is when those folks come over and they work, because they work very freaking hard, and they do all the right things instead of being an American and going out and doing dumb shit, crashing cars and shooting people and doing Americanized dumb shit. Ghost ride the whip. That is nowhere in the world but here.
All right. So last question. Why are you voting in November? I mean, obviously the border ain't it.
Well, I'm voting in November because, again, I just had a grandchild, and it's a girl, and I want her to have all her rights. I want her to be able to be safe. I don't want a president that's immune, that can pull up in a limousine and snatch my granddaughter in the car. No, I don't know. Because I still believe he on some Saddam Hussein type stuff, man. He believes that anything he says and thinks and does, he can unclassify stuff, and it's law. That's not America.
All right.
So, and that's not the U.S. That's not what we do.
Fair enough. Thank you, Stick. Appreciate you coming through.
All right. Have a good one.
You too. And by the way, the Uday and Qusay statement he made, those were the sons of the late Saddam Hussein. Those kids were killed first, but they got into a shootout with American GIs. But they were doing what he's talking about. They were literally yanking chicks off the street. Drive by in a limousine. If they see a really attractive girl, just yank her and put her in the car and do whatever they want. So what he's saying is you don't want to elect a president that might do that. Now, Trump is almost 80 years old. I can't imagine Trump yanking somebody's granddaughter, but I just wanted to give some clarity on what he was talking about. In the comments, way more than $3,000 per month in New York City. Fools, says King Fire. Well, in New York, yeah, maybe in New York City, I guess I don't know about way more, though. I don't know. Here's the issue. I think from listening to the folks on the right, I don't think we would really have many immigrants in the country if you listen to how the right is describing it. Now, the right is not about what they say. I'm not against immigration, just come here legally. But the right is really in favor of making it pretty hard to come here legally. I mean, you've heard my last guest saying, well, if you want to seek asylum, you got to go to the country next to yours first, which would eliminate a whole lot of people from being able to come here legally at all. I think the right wants to make it fairly difficult to even come here legally, and certainly the illegal stuff would end. $3,000 a month is crazy. At most, you get like $500 for EBT, and that's it. That's something everyone can get, says Witcher mentality. $3,000 a month for an immigrant. Yeah, I think that sounds fairly overstated. And even if there's some way, somehow, I'll give you an example who might be getting $3,000 a month. And even then, I believe it will be for a very short period of time. When we left Afghanistan, Alter Ego, appreciate the hat and mustache. Thank you for your support. Thank you, Alter Ego. Appreciate that. When we left Afghanistan, we brought back folks who had helped us, like interpreters and things like that, whose life would have been on the line had they stayed. Now, those folks, you want to put them up in an apartment or a house and get them on their feet. You're not going to get them just an EBT card with a little bit of food stamps on it. They need help. I do believe some of them folks would have been given money like that. But the idea that we're just bringing in immigrants from Haiti and Mexico and Guatemala and just handing them a boatload of money, I don't believe that. And it doesn't make any sense to suggest we're giving them this insane amount of wealth on one side, and then on the other side, so they say that they're so desperate, they're eating house pets. One of those can't be true. One of those have to be wrong. I mean, if they're getting that, why aren't they at Olive Garden or Red Lobster somewhere enjoying a real dinner? Why are they eating house pets if they're getting thousands of dollars a month? One of those don't make sense. Tap the screen, get the likes up to about 90. Some of you folks did come through, showed the program some love. Same on YouTube, smash that like button, get us up to about 160. We are uncensored. We always are uncensored. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. You don't have to agree with anybody in the comment section. You damn sure don't have to agree with the host. We are MAGA friendly. Been that way since day one. Always will be. Liberals are welcome as well. You will lose your freedom and your right to vote if Trump gets rid of the Constitution, says Chuck Lasher. You believe Trump's goal is to completely get rid of the Constitution? Wow. Where are you getting that from? I don't know if he said anything like that. What makes you think Trump's going to get rid of the Constitution entirely? Now, he has talked about finagling a few amendments here or there. Just like Kamala Harris is talking about gun buybacks and has been joking about the Second Amendment. But getting rid of the Constitution altogether, that's pretty damn strong. Will G, no surprise that Trump might be cheating on Melania with Laura Loomer. No surprise he tried to bag Tulsi Gabbard too. You think Trump at damn near 80 years old was trying to fuck these girls? God damn. No surprise that Trump might be cheating on Melania with Laura Loomer. She ain't bad looking. No surprise that he tried to bag Tulsi Gabbard as well. She also ain't bad looking. You know, I will say this. I don't know if I buy into and somebody said he actually did do that. I will say this though. I don't buy into Trump is trying to bang those girls, but anything is possible. But I will say this though. If you have a chick that is willing to defend you to the ends of the earth, that switch parties to come on your side, I think Snoop Dogg once said it best, or better yet, maybe it was in the old movie The Mac. Hey man, your bitch chose me. I think that would be quite attractive to someone. You don't left your party to come hang out with me, and you all over Fox News defending my ass, talking about Tulsi Gabbard. Hey, if she willing to do all that, yeah, she might be willing to let me tap the. Hey, I'm just telling you how we see it. Telling you how we see it. She left her party to come be Republican, and now she's all over television defending Trump for any and everything that comes along. Hey, you think she might let me hit it? I mean, shit, she obviously likes me a lot. Tulsi is bad, says, Tulsi's good looking. Tulsi's attractive. Got a little veteran status and all that. Got a little money coming in every month. Shout out to Tulsi. She might be willing to earn a little overtime now that they ain't being taxed, if you know what I mean. Okay, Infinity. I'm an immigrant. Sign me up on that 3K shit. Yeah, you ain't gonna ever see that. That ain't happening. All right, let me go back to the box. Thank you for that confetti. All right, going to the box. Yeah, I mean, like, hey, she defended me everywhere. What else might she not be willing to be down with? Twain, one of my subscribers. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Twain, is the border and the immigration issue that serious, or is it being overstated? Twain, good evening.
Good afternoon, Tim. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Well, I live in. I know most of you guys don't, don't admit where they're from. I'm from Virginia, so we're, like southern East Coast,
Okay.
right on the bay, and so we never had the immigration problem here. I remember, I mean, like 10 years ago when the immigration did become a problem, you would see a few. I live more in the central part now, but at one point I lived on the coast. My son told me that when the immigrants moved there, they were like lunch. They were more victims than taking advantage of America. That employers were taking advantage of them. The underworld was taking advantage of them because they didn't want to go, and they didn't want to go to the police and be complaining.
Right.
So here I can't speak of what's going on in Texas or California or what's there. But
what about Trump? Hold on. Now, obviously, you're on the East Coast, so you don't know whether Trump, what he said in Ohio about pets being eaten is true or not. But do you see former President Trump, as a credible source? I mean, he is a former president, stating that in our country there is a community where people's pets are being eaten by immigrants. Do you believe former President Trump is a credible source?
Well, Tim, I left Virginia and I lived in Cincinnati for a while. Okay. Cincinnati, I felt like was more conservative than any state or any city that I'd lived in. All my friends, Cincinnati is right on the borderline with Kentucky. All my friends were from Kentucky.
You're not answering the question about the credible source thing, though.
I believe, I know people are going to just say, well, he just don't like Trump. I think Trump is saying whatever he has to say to validate his immigrant problem, that he want to make America feel afraid of the immigrants. When he said black jobs, the immigrants were coming to take black jobs, here's something I never hear anyone speak about. It seems to me that when he said they were coming to take black jobs, he was being more divisive. That he was saying to black people, be wary of brown people. And to verify his point, that was his way of giving us, saying to us, oh, I care more about you than I do about them. And if that's the case,
but what would be wrong with having a president state, I care more about you as an American citizen than I do immigrants coming in? Would that be wrong?
No, I can't say that. I wish I could. I wish I could lie to you and say, yeah, that's wrong. But no, it's not.
So then
you asked, the other question you asked was who was I voting for? I'm voting for the Constitution because I feel like Trump would do everything within his policy to change the concept of the Constitution.
What makes you think that?
With the 2025 thing, I think he wants the Constitution to reflect more on how can I put this? The Constitution.
Now remember, he has vehemently denied any connection to Project 2025.
Well, we both know that. If I have someone who works for me, who works for another company, I'm sure they're going to share the concepts of that other company. They're going to say, well, we did this here, and because I'm working here now, I'm going to share with what we were doing there. I'm sure Vance knows. I'm sure Vance have shared with, if not with him, with his sons, because I heard that his sons were the ones who were really reaching out to him.
So at the end of the day, so you do believe that Trump is a threat to basically to democracy, because you're saying you think he's a threat to changing the Constitution.
That's my worst fear, Tim. That's my worst fear. I sent you a thing in the chat on YouTube once. It said, I'd rather eat more beans and rice until she get her feet on the ground. And I'm speaking of Kamala here. than to have Trump in office and have to worry about where we're going to end up at the end of his administration.
Wow.
As far as the Constitution is concerned, I am afraid. I am definitely afraid of where we're going to be at the end of his administration. It's my worst fear. It's my worst fear. When Kennedy said, "That's not what this country can do for you, but what you can do for this country," I feel like it's never been more directed towards Trump than any time in history. I feel that way. You know, I looked at the debate. I watched him. I watched how irate he got. I feel like he cares not about this country. I feel like he cares about what he thinks this country should be, not what this country.
Well, there's 70 something. There's 70. I got to move it on, but there's like 70 million people that believe he is the right direction for the country. So you might be at odds with a lot of folks. Twain, appreciate you coming on. I got to move it on.
All right, God. Thank you for taking me on.
Anytime, man. Thank you. All right, moving the program on. He should be mad because people are mad. And by the way, in regards to what my last guest was saying, that one of his biggest fears is that Trump will be a threat to democracy, and he don't know what the end of Trump's term where we'll be left off at. He's by far not the only person that believes that. One of the biggest issues against Kamala Harris is the border and the economy. Democracy is one of the biggest issues people are voting against Trump for. Abortion rights, obviously, is another one, but it just goes to show, regardless of how you may have felt or even still feel about the 2020 election, that event that day on January 6th did not help Trump out at all. For some voters out there, I don't know what number, because we talked about the economy, we talked about the border, we've talked about abortion rights and things like that, but there's a lot of voters out there that one day is the reason they're not voting for Trump. That did not help him out at all. Like I said, even if you believe the election was outright stolen from Trump, it's clear that one day cost him thousands of votes. Liz Cheney is a perfect example. The only reason she's not voting for Trump is that day. That one day. So, like I said, whether you think that what they did was criminal or they were let in by the FBI or it was ray-ups or whatever, that one day has been a pretty big thorn in the Trump re-election campaign. That one day was not beneficial to him at all. Looking in the comments, yes, feds planned exactly that. Well, to Queer 88, you're saying the feds planned January 6th. The feds didn't invite those people out there. The feds didn't tell those people the election was stolen from them. So we can say the feds planned it, but it doesn't go down without Trump. The feds didn't tell them to go to the Capitol building, even peacefully and patriotically. The feds didn't send those folks to the Capitol building. Trump obviously is deeply involved in it. And now we have hindsight. 4 years, almost 4 years later, it'll be 4 years in January, we have to ask the question, at 4 years out, is there any solid proof that what happened on January 6th was all for nothing? Is there any solid proof to show that it wasn't? Because if you had asked those folks on January 6th what took place, they would have gave you Dominion voting machines cheated for by a lot of that stuff's been proven to be false. So regardless of what happened on January 6th or who's responsible, or if it's Nancy Pelosi or whatever you want to come up with, Ray Epps, the FBI, Antifa, the day shouldn't have happened. We got 4 years out and we don't see any solid reason for why that took place. And I have to also ask, what was the goal of that day? What was the expectation? Okay, when folks are waving stop the steal, how was that going to be done? You show up to D.C. to help former President Trump prevent the election from being stolen. A simple protest ain't gonna stop that. So how are you expecting to stop the steal? Just showing up with a bunch of signs and saying we don't like what happened was not going to do it. So stop the steal how? 4 years out. Not enough evidence to suggest this should have ever happened. Look at in the comments. Trump told Black Lives Matter to march down. What does that say? Trump told, I didn't see it. Prove, and John says, proved to be false by who? No, that's another lie. No one has proved that to be false. No, John, well, the Dominion voting machine stealing votes from Trump to get a Biden. If you don't believe that's been proven to be false, I don't know what else to say. It certainly ain't been proven to be true. Fox News, $775 million for that. What else do you? What other evidence do you need to prove that that's false? Tucker Carlson, Mike Lindell. How much money, how much prominence has been lost claiming that Dominion switched votes? That has been proven to be false. Several entities had their day in court and they couldn't prove otherwise. Rudolph Giuliani is another one. Yeah. Looking in the comments. So then Trump can call for martial law and uncertify the election. Wow, that would be interesting. By the way, he does have some form of undefined immunity. But he's not president at this point. So at this point, Biden could probably do something like that. I don't think Biden would do that. Nancy Pelosi's daughter has the video. Look it up. You know, that's really crazy that you got folks using Nancy Pelosi's daughter as a source, knowing you wouldn't give a damn what Nancy Pelosi or her daughter ever said. But because it resonates with you, all of a sudden now she's a source. Really? If Nancy Pelosi's daughter said the election was stolen, you would say she don't know what the hell she's talking about. But because she said something you favor, you want to bring her up. Brandon, suggesting that I answer the question. I don't see the question. January 6th goal was to show enough support and delay to give Trump enough time to convince Pence and the other elected officials to go with his plan. You can't stall an election because you have support. So you said to show enough support support don't mean anything. I mean, even if Trump wins in November, it would be pretty easy for Kamala Harris to get a bunch of people to come to D.C. to show support that they don't want Trump. That's irrelevant. Support don't give you the right to break the law. Showing up supporting and delay, by the way, in delaying it is against the law for sure. You don't, like I said, it's 4 years out. It's been 4 years. There is no evidence to show Mike Pence should have did what Trump recommended. We've had enough time to track down some of the claims that Trump said happened there that day. Trump was asking Mike Pence to delay the certification because this and this and this and this happened. It's been 4 years now. None of that stuff has panned out. So even if Mike Pence had did what Trump asked, it looks like eventually Trump would have still had to step down. He would have just been in office a little bit longer. None of that stuff is panned out to show that Trump was the winner. So yeah, I mean, Mike Pence, you can't violate the law based on, I think this happened. And by the way, all of the powers that be, polling places, Republican governors, they're all telling Trump he lost. His own Attorney General, Jim Barr. So why would Mike Pence roll with Trump and not certify the election when all of the powers that be, the people who actually have access, the people who actually counting the votes are telling him he lost? So Mike Pence has it. Well, you just roll with this guy who has no evidence and you ignore all of the people that's telling you he lost? Mike Pence, had he listened to Trump, would be dealing with all of the same criminal cases of Trump, and he would not have the same support that MAGA is giving Trump. You can talk to Rudolph Giuliani and many other Trump supporters and see a perfect example of that. They're dealing with court cases and criminal punishments, fines and all of that for dealing with Trump, and MAGA is not supporting those folks. They're going bankrupt. Mike Pence would probably be in jail if he had to deal with what Trump is asking him to do. And Chris Christie stated, I know you guys don't have any love or respect for Chris Christie. Fine, I get it. But Chris Christie stated that he was part of the phone call, and he told Mike Pence, if you do what he's saying, you're going to be dealing with court cases for the rest of your life. He actually told them that. Like, if you do this, it ain't going to go well for you. And now that we got 4 years to look back on, it seems like he was actually telling the truth. Looking in the comments, I'm just pointing out what the goal was, and I'm not saying I agree with it. Limbo, thank you. That's how Trump rolls. He gets other dumbasses to break the law for him, says Demaja. Jesus. All right. Do you think January 6th was worse than 9/11 like Pelosi does? Different event. I mean, obviously, the whole purpose of January 6th was to strike a blow against the United States. The purpose of January 6th, to some degree, was to overthrow the flow of the United States. Different events, but I will say they do have one similarity. September 11th and January 6th showed the world a big weakness of the United States. September 11th showed a lot of folks who've been wanting to attack America. All you had to do is get some planes and you could have had this done. Use the planes as missiles, find a few duped idiots that are willing to do it on a suicide basis. You could hit a lot of different targets. Showed the world a weakness in the United States. January 6th did the same thing. Had more of those folks been armed on January 6th, they could have literally cut off the head of the U.S. government. When they had the Capitol building under control, all of the Republican Senate, all of the Republican House, and the vice president are all in one location, and they had that location captured. If they had taken those folks out, we're left with Trump, the guy they're defending, and he now has the power to pick all those replacements. That's a dictatorship, right? That's how it normally happens. The only difference is the folks that went in the Capitol building weren't armed or weren't sufficiently armed to do it. But if they had did that, that's essentially how most dictatorships start. That's how a coup starts. You take out the current leadership and you put the guy in you want. Trump would have been there all by himself. And he could have started, enacting laws and replacing all of the deceased people. They had all of them in there. Regardless of how you feel about what took place there that day, the world saw that. That's what I'm stating when I say 9/11 and January 6th showed the world a weakness. The world saw our entire head of government, minus Trump, get conquered. You know how many countries want to do that shit? You know how many countries well, shit, I could have sent you 2,000, 5,000 or 6,000 folks. Showed a weakness to the world. That doesn't compete with Black Lives. Burning a bunch of Targets and CVS's down doesn't show the world a weakness. Going back to the box. Tap the screen. 120. We can make it happen. Zeus. Good to see you on, Zeus. Good afternoon.
How you doing? Happy Friday, bro.
I'm just hanging around like Mike Pence on January 6th. So...
You know, January 6th is one of my favorite topics.
Really? Why would you like that?
Oh, because it's the opportunity to hold the mirror up to Donald Trump and his supporters, right? And help them understand that they engaged in a domestic terrorist attack on this country. A lot of his supporters don't want to acknowledge what it was, which is, he lied to his supporters about the results of the election.
Hey, hold on one second before you finish that. Kevin O'Leary on YouTube says, put on a conservative. If I can find them, I promise you they'll come up. I got a lot of liberals coming on the program. I'm trying. I am trying. Appreciate it. Go ahead, Zeus.
Well, Kevin needs to understand, ever since Trump lost that debate, no conservatives have the courage to get on TikTok and defend their cult leader.
I don't know about that. I've had a few of them say he won.
Yeah, they're lying to themselves to try to save face, but we all know the truth. She whooped him that night, right? I mean, she left no meat on the bone. All right, he refused to look at her, and I said, "Wow, she put him somewhere not even his wife could put him." That's wild.
But what about the notion that he was battling three folks at one time? I mean, they're fact-checking him and not fact-checking Kamala. They're letting Kamala say whatever she wants, but they're fact-checking Trump.
You hear the latest conspiracy? They said they had the lights aimed at his face. It was too bright as well.
I haven't heard that. That's ridiculous.
It's out there. It's out there. I mean, the world was against him on that stage, right? It felt like that because Kamala was such a powerful force. I mean, she walked into his airspace. That got him right there. You know, he was supposed to beat her to that and go, "Hey, I'm Donald Trump," but she showed up right at his
but let's talk about what I just stated though. Was it not wrong for them to fact check him and not fact check her?
What should they have fact checked her about? The dogs and the cats?
No.
I mean.
No, wait. Let me answer your question. She claims that police officers were killed on January 6th. That didn't happen.
There were cops who lost their lives.
Not on that day.
Of January 6th.
Not on that day. No, no cop lost their life on January 6th.
Did any cops lose their life as a result of January 6th?
You could stretch and say, well, somebody had a stroke the next day. I mean, but they didn't lose their life directly tied to January 6th. I don't believe that's actually proved.
I'll put that in okay, let's just say she misspoke at that moment.
She lied. It's not true. He's supposed to correct it.
It's a fumble. It's a misstep. You know what I mean? I get what she was saying. She ultimately was trying to say officers lost their life on January 6th, and we don't understand how Trump could say he's for law enforcement and backs the blue, but then attack the blue on January 6th. Did you see the video of those cops getting squeezed? And
I saw everything that happened on that day, but I still go back to the original statement. No one died there that day. I think you're making excuses for Kamala. What she said was not true.
We have to give Kamala the ability to maneuver.
Maneuver?
Yeah. No cop lost their life directly on January 6th, but there were officers who lost their life as a result of the attack on the Capitol.
You can't. No, Zeus. You can't let Trump be fact-checked and give Kamala room to maneuver. That sounds like you're biased in favor of Kamala.
No. It's necessary in order to combat the misinformation. A lot of the Trump supporters know what I mean when I say that, right? Kamala Harris was simply she's on stage. She has lights pointing at her too. She's under attack. Okay, we get what she's trying to say. That pales in comparison to the cat and dogs and putting targets.
As far as I'm concerned, if you're going to fact check lies, there shouldn't be a hierarchy. If you're not going to let a lie get by, they should have fact checked her as well. But I want to read this to you. Infinity says Trump claims he can keep Putin and Xi Jinping in line and Kim Jong-un, yet he complains that 2 TV hosts own him. He is a loser, vote blue. So what he's saying is that, how can Trump be claiming that he's going to end the war in 24 hours and keep Xi Jinping and Kim Jong-un in line, but he can't even keep David Mirror of ABC in line? So I hear him, but I got to disagree with you, Zeus,
That's fine. We can disagree. I mean, for the sake of being honest, I'll agree with you. No cops lost their life on January 6th.
Right.
But I won't I won't put that at the same level of rhetoric that Donald Trump was spewing that night. Right? Can we agree there's more harm in what he said?
Maybe. But I'm going to go back. But my original point is this. If you're not going to fact check one, don't fact check the other. I don't want to go into one lie is worse than the other. And if you're not going to fact check Kamala because you think her lie is not as harmful, then get out of the fact-checking business. I just think that, and at the end of the day, when you talk about the stuff that got fact-checked from Trump, such as the eating of dogs and cats and putting a baby to the side and determining whether to execute it or not, I don't think you even needed the fact-check. I think probably 80-90% of the folks watching that debate knows that stuff is likely baby to the side. That ain't happening. That is just not happening. You don't need to fact check that. People know that's crazy. If you've seen any of the debate watch parties, every time they show that dogs and cats, everybody busts up laughing. Even Bill O'Reilly and Geraldo said they were watching and they busted up laughing. So people knew that wasn't true.
I would say most civilized people know it's not true. But what we're dealing with is a special group of people, and I call them special because that's what Trump said on January 6th when he told them to go back home. You're special, but he knows these people don't know how to think complete thoughts. They believe everything Trump says. So we have an obligation, and this is why I think they had to push back on them, because we know we're dealing with the cult. Stuff like that has to be addressed in real time. What Kamala said, that's not going to get people going out here and doing crazy stuff.
You use the word cult. So you really do think it's a cult?
Oh, absolutely. How else do you describe why they still believe that Donald Trump is the president, right?
They don't all believe that.
I can't find a Trump supporter that will admit that Donald Trump lost fair and square on 2020.
Okay,
have you found one?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I mean, most of the Republican Party that's in Washington, the Republican senators, Republican Congress, all of I don't think there's a single Republican governor that believes Trump won and is stating that. They all admit he lost. It's some citizens that said he won.
Well, supporter, because I think people in government tend to have a little more understanding of how far to go with the lie, right? But his supporters, they don't question anything Trump says. So they believe he really won, but it was stolen, even though he just admitted he lost by a whisker, right? You know, he goes on stage.
He said that was a joke. He said that was a joke.
That's a wild joke while there's all those supporters of his sitting in a jail cell, right?
Yeah.
And you know, you sit there and you say, so y'all think the FBI was behind the attack on the Capitol, right? All right, so who's...
I already know where you're going with this shit. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Trump sat there and let the FBI set this all up, invited his soldiers to show up there, got them all put into prison. How does that look?
Yeah, I don't have an answer for that. The FBI and Ray Epps and Antifa sparked off January 6th, yet you're speaking favorably. You're offering pardons and doing music with either it's Antifa or it's MAGA. I mean, when you listen to Trump speak about January 6th, I don't think he's ever said anything negative about that day. In fact, the whole Antifa, Ray Epps, and all of that stuff's coming from supporters. Everything Trump has said about January 6th has been positive, other than Nancy Pelosi didn't provide security. Other than that, everything he said has been positive. So, yeah, the Antifa stuff is not even coming from him.
Wow. So it's all positive. When the host asked him, is there anything about that day you regret? What did he say?
I can't remember. Was it Nancy Pelosi again?
He said he didn't do anything wrong that day. It was Nancy Pelosi, like you said.
Yeah.
So what it shows to me is, again, I would prefer they don't fact check. I really would, and just let them both say what they got to say. But because we're dealing with his supporters who don't question a single thing he says, they believe him, right? You have to say, sir, unfortunately, that right there is a little too much.
Promises made, promises kept. Zeus, I got to move it on. But you're right. His supporters are in for the taking. Thank you for coming through, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. All right, looking in the comments, by the way, and I did want to address a super chat from the one and only Will G87. Thanks to Trump, the Capitol on certification and inauguration day will look like a military base, all because of his feelings. That is true. That is absolutely true. After what happened January 6, 2021, it probably, even if he wins, but certainly if Trump loses, there's going to be a lot of security because they're going to be expecting MAGA to have a remix. That is true. Thanks to what happened with Trump in that protest on January 6th, the next inauguration, probably the next several of them, are going to be, there's going to be a ton of security around, more than what, I mean, it's the president, so there's already a ton of security there, but now you're talking military, like National Guard and shit like that. That's probably what's going to happen because of what took place there that day. But yeah, I don't get it that it's Antifa, it's Black Lives Matter, it's Ray Epps, it's the FBI, but yeah, Trump doesn't have anything negative to say about January 6th at all. He speaks favorably. I mean, like I said, he's done the January 6th choir. He's offering to give everybody pardons. We love you. We go home, as my last caller pointed out. Was it Antifa or was it not? Because, yeah, he's speaking he said number positive shit. Get ready for immigrants to be in your house, Zeus. Martian Man. It ain't going to get that bad, Martian Man. You think that liberals are going to let so many immigrants in, they're going to be in your crib? That's a bit heavy. Over 160 cops were injured on January 6th. That's not killed, though. Kamala Harris said police officers died on January 6th. ABC did not fact check her. I don't think they, like I said, I think that, in my opinion, Kamala Harris won that debate, hands down. But Trump and his supporters do have a legitimate claim that ABC only fact-checked Trump. That's a legitimate claim. I think that even if you take away what ABC did, Trump was on defense the whole damn debate. From the moment she came over and surprised him with a handshake, everything Trump, anytime you heard Trump speaking, it was to defend against an attack from Kamala Harris. People ain't leaving my rallies. They don't go to yours because yours are boring. I mean, everything that he was saying was in defense of attacks coming from Kamala Harris. And you know what they say, if you're on defense, you're losing. So go figure. Looking in the box, continuing on with the program. Thank you folks that are tapping the screen. 120, huh? How about 130? Make that happen. Going to Derek. Good afternoon. Whoa, got me looking like Elvis. One for the money. All right, appreciate it. Thank you for that hat. Derek, good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
Good afternoon, Tim. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. So what am I getting wrong?
Well, I've been listening to a lot, like he was talking about J6 and all that. Mm-hmm. There was talk with Christopher Miller about they're probably going to need the National Guard, but it wasn't a direct order. So obviously when he was testifying before Congress, I mean, it wasn't a direct order. So he says, no, there was no order. But there was talk about it 3 days prior, I believe.
So what about the notion that it's Nancy Pelosi's fault for not having security there?
See, I don't know about that. There's no proof that says that. I'd like for him to provide all of us proof. I mean, they're all politicians at the end of the day. They're all dishonest in their own ways. I'm with you on. I mean, I watched that debate. It definitely wasn't fair. Yeah, she did dog walk him along with two of her friends. So,
but even if you take away the 30 seconds of fact checking coming from ABC, she still won.
Yeah. She definitely held herself well. She was baiting Trump. Was that a presidential debate? No, I think it was who could throw the best zingers.
But then Trump should have won that. Bird Brain, Sleepy Joe, Crazy Bernie, Nervous Nancy, Little Marco, Lion Ted Cruz, Low Energy Jeb. He should win because that's what he does.
I heard she put out that was crazy. But it wasn't professional. I think we all lost. I don't think that debate changed anyone's views. They were already supporting her. They're still supporting her. If they're already supporting him, they're already supporting him.
Yeah.
I think we need to get more on topical policy when she like back to the fact checking thing, like the Project 2025. The Democrats keep throwing that on Trump. That's his. And you go read through the articles. His name is mentioned in there as far as the Trump administration. It's mentioned like 160 times is what I found. It's in regards to setting policies, signing executive orders that he had that Biden got rid of, stuff along those lines. But it even says for the next president to reenact this policy that Trump did. It's not just for Trump. It's a conservative think tank. It's been around since before.
Well, the problem is his vice president wrote the foreword for that. And several of his former administration officials that he hired and brought to Washington also wrote the project itself. There are so many links to Trump in Project 2025. As you mentioned, his name is in it all over the damn place. You're not going to have people look at that and say, well, he really ain't got nothing to do with it. If that was a liberal with some far left policy of letting immigrants in the country or something like that, and they had Kamala Harris in the book all of those times, and it was former members of the Obama administration or something, you would be pinning it on Kamala Harris. I mean, let's just be fair about it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, you're not wrong there. But with that being said, let's say Trump's out of the picture. The next president, they're going to want to push it on him and get him to get behind some of the ideas. It's just like, I'm sure there's some things in there that we can all get together and say, okay, that's good. Like the no welfare for illegal aliens. Right now, they're getting so much money from our tax dollars.
Yeah, but hold on. Here's the problem. Here's when you say no welfare for illegal aliens. As I mentioned earlier in the program, the problem is you guys are calling a lot of people illegal aliens that are not illegal. Them asylum seekers are not illegal. When Trump says there's 18 million illegals, it's those people. He's calling a whole lot of people, the Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio. Them folks are not here illegally. He's calling them illegal. So you're grouping all these people.
We need to find a fine line there, but there has been, it's been human trafficking. DHS released a memo a year and a half ago. They knew that Venezuela was releasing prisoners to the United States. That's where Trump says we're not getting their finest, we're not getting their best.
Yeah, but the proper term is unvetted. They're not illegal. Okay, you got some undocumented folks here that we need to know who the hell they are. I agree with you there. We shouldn't just let anybody in, but they're not here illegally. He's using this awful term to describe millions of people that's clearly incorrect.
I get it. It's the movement, and there's a lot of money behind it. These NGOs are raking in money right now, and they're using our tax dollars to do it.
Yeah.
If you look at the numbers they've raked in the last 2-3 years, it's crazy, billions of dollars.
Bro, that's what I said early in the program, is that we don't do for Americans because there's nothing to gain. The reason we're doing stuff for the Ukraine and doing things for the illegal aliens and all, there's things to gain in that stuff. The illegal aliens are working for a lot of their lobbyists as cheap labor. A lot of folks who donate money to the Trump campaign or to the Biden-Harris campaign are getting a ton of cheap labor by those folks coming over here. In a capitalist society, we're not about helping out Americans. We're about helping out our damn selves. That's how that works.
Yep, to an extent. I think, like with Trump, he does want to get veterans off the streets. He wants to help veterans. I think we need to focus on who we have here first. We need to focus on our Americans first.
But here's the problem with that, Derek. If we have the mindset that we need to focus on Americans first before we help anybody else out, in a country of 350 million people, there will always be downtrodden Americans. Essentially, you would never get around to helping anybody else out because there's always going to be Americans in need. So we're basically saying from now on, we're not going to assist anybody else around the world indefinitely.
No, but right now we have, we can agree that we just did, that we have immigrants that are getting far more support than what our current homeless are and veterans are. And these NGOs are putting them in hotels, and they're doing a lot better than some of our actual U.S. citizens.
I don't know. I think you guys are attributing numbers to some of these immigrants that is way above what actually is. I had somebody in the program earlier say they're getting $3,000 a month or something like that. I don't believe that's factual.
See, I don't know the actual numbers, but I had it pulled up here from, where was it? NGOs, relocation. I want to say they'd spent $500 million on housing for them, hotels. There's food in there. These CEOs are raking in $1 million a year.
Can't stop that. Like I said, they want to profit.
Oh, yeah, I know.
But let me ask you this, because under Trump, he was boasting of how secure the border was and things like that. And we still had homeless. Chicago was still a shithole and all of that, as people would say. I'm trying to figure out, when have we ever been doing for the downtrodden in this country? Because the Ukraine war, we should be taking care of Americans instead of sending money to the Ukraine. The Ukraine war just started in February of 2022. You don't hear any Republicans stating, I used to be able to do all of this for downtrodden Americans until the money went to the Ukraine. Where are all the politicians bragging about how much they were doing for Americans that are hurting before the money went to Israel and the Ukraine? I don't hear anybody saying what they were doing before that happened.
None of them are. They won't.
And none of them were either.
Yeah, that's the thing is right now it's a lose-lose. They all talk, and that's all we can do is hope that Trump's going to do it, because we don't. I have my other reasons for voting for him. He's not my first pick. I've been on here and told you that before. He's just the lesser of two evils for me.
Wow.
I don't like him as a person. Don't want my son to grow up to be like him. Absolutely not.
When did that become the norm? Where the president was no longer a role model, we're okay with him being a dick or a womanizer as long as he put a few bucks in her pocket. It kind of sounds like capitalism. As long as you give me some money, I don't give a damn what you do.
Yeah, and it's because the money around the country. I love capitalism. I'm a small business owner, but the money around the country, money's running our politics.
It sounds like it's running our damn morals.
For a lot of people, it is. For me, with Harris, I can't get behind a lot of her flip flopping, especially with the some of the 2A ban stuff. She says that 2019 there's recordings of her saying AR ban, and then her fracking, and then the green energy deal. I'm in the automotive industry. I don't think that EVs are viable long term.
But let me ask you that. You mentioned this is something I've been asking a lot of Trump supporters, asking a lot of MAGA, and you whatever statement you want to give me, it's fine. I don't block, ban, or censor. But a lot of Trump supporters have been talking about Kamala Harris's threat to 2A, which I think we think that all liberals are going to be a threat to 2A. But you're talking about quotes that Kamala Harris said. Now, Trump is on record saying he wants to implement stop and frisk, which is a clear example of violating the Fourth Amendment. Why is the right in favor of defending the Second Amendment, but they're okay with Trump talking about sacrificing the Fourth Amendment? He also talked about if you burn the flag, you should get a year in prison, which is sacrificing the First Amendment. And he talked about if you plead the Fifth, you belong to the mob and all this shit, which is putting the Fifth Amendment in jeopardy. But we're okay as long as they protect the Second?
The second, you're taking stuff from me. I'm not too worried about the other things because I'm not going to go out and do them. I don't think my free speech is going to get taken away because of the flag, because I'm never going to do that. I do think that is I think it's a horrible thing to do. If you're in this country and you love this country, why would you do that? If you don't love this country, what are you doing here?
So you're okay with certain rights being taken away just because it doesn't affect you?
That's not taking it away.
You're
talking about a small minority that would go out and do those acts.
And they have a legal right to do it.
Well, when it comes to, say, the 2A, the criminals are going to be the ones that are going to benefit the most from it because they're not going to follow the law. They're going to do whatever they want like they always have. And that's where it starts a slippery slope for me, is because I know pew-pews very, very well.
But if you can see the Second Amendment slippery slopes, but if you start with banning, if you start with throwing you in jail for burning the flag, you don't see any possibility that it might be a slippery slope to taking away other First Amendment rights, such as he also talked about banning TikTok, the app we're on now. That's another one of your free speech rights going away. He's talked about going at the free speech.
I don't agree with it, but with like TikTok, there's not a whole lot of free speach on here. We're having to use code words now just to be able to talk on this platform. We're already complaining about free speech as it is on here, so I don't agree with it. Like I said, have you ever supported somebody 100%?
No.
As far as a presidential candidate?
No.
I don't think any of us ever will.
No.
But that's where it comes down to lesser of two evils. I think we need to restructure everything. I think the system's completely broken.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
well, as long as you do admit it's a lesser of two evils. I can't argue with that. And by the way, I thought this was a funny comment. I'll let you hear it, and you let me know is this correct. Anthony Allridge in the comments says, "Handsome liberal, you actually sound like ABC." Am I taking the approach, at least against Trump, that's leading folks to suggest I sound like the ABC moderators?
No. I think you've always been very even kill. I've been on here a few times, and I enjoy watching it, man. There are a lot of these panels you get on, and I've been on several every night. That there's 6, 7, 8 of us, and usually it's the energy matching energy type of deal. But I've been on quite a few here lately where it's been pretty mixed, and we're able to actually sit down and talk and come to some common ground on things that we agree with and don't agree with. I think we need to get back to that. That this division's just hurting us all. It's not. We're not rooting for football teams here. We need to get together and find some common ground.
You get no disagreements from me, Derek. I got to move it on, but the door's always open to you, man. I do appreciate
Thanks
that.
for having me back up, Tim.
Anytime. All right, moving on with the program. By the way, tap the screen, 140. Can we make that happen? Tap the screen, get the likes up. You guys I got a few participants out there. I do appreciate you folks that are tapping the screen. Smash that like button on YouTube as well. Just giving you my quick spiel. This program is MAGA friendly, always has been, always will be. Liberals are welcome as well. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. We go left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with QAnon. Everybody gets to speak on the program. You don't have to agree with anyone on the program. including yours truly. If you enjoy civilized dialogue in that manner, without all the blocking and banning from the host, you're in the right place. Follow the program on TikTok, a subscription on YouTube, if you will. We're here Monday through Friday. Dory in the comments. I hope regardless of the outcome, we have the largest voter turnout in history. I think you might get your wish. I think it's going to be pretty damn close to that. Before I go to the next caller, when I lived in Australia for those few years I lived overseas, they had what's called compulsory voting, which I would really strongly support here. I don't think one side of the aisle would support this, but compulsory voting means you have to vote. Like you used to have to sign up for the selective service. Now, you don't have to vote for what's being presented. You can vote here. Let's say Trump and Kamala's running and you don't like either one of the asses. And that's the only choices you have. Present. Like, you remember in school, you raise your hand up and you say present, but you have to answer your civic duty. I would support that. I believe America should have that. Now, I really feel strongly, I'd put money on it, probably 3, 4, 5 to 1 odds. The right would be against that because high voter turnout does not work well for the right. But I would certainly support mandating at least responding during election time. You don't have to vote if you don't want. You can just simply say present, but you do have to correspond during election time. It's only it could be every 4 years in the national election, or it could be including the midterm. So every 2 years you got to respond. I don't think that's much to ask for American citizens, but like as I said, I don't think I think you get a lot of pushback from the right. Looking in the comments, Republicans would never be elected again, and that's probably why, is that the popular vote rarely goes right. I disagree, though. The notion that the Republicans would never be elected again, I disagree. I think what would happen if you mandated everyone respond, and the idea that the Republicans do not normally win the popular vote, suggesting they would change their policies to address more of those people. Okay, was it Paul Ryan when Trump was running for president? I think it was Paul Ryan of Kentucky that thought he would lose, and he said, until the Republican Party starts to look more like the rest of the world, we're going to keep losing elections. Now, Trump did win. Paul Ryan was wrong, but what he was indicating is we need to evolve and realize that the country's becoming more diverse. I've said this many times on the program. It's a hell of a lot easier to be a Republican politician than a Democrat politician. Because if you are a Democrat politician, you got to address the LGBT community. You got to give a seat at the table to blacks, Hispanics, Muslims, women, and feminist groups are sitting at the table. They want to be heard. All of these folks are showing up. The transgender community, they all want to be heard. If you're a Republican politician, you're just sitting across from a straight, white, Christian individual. That's predominantly who the Republican Party addresses. Now, there are other members of the Republican Party. There are other cultures. But for the most part, they are getting in line behind that mindset. Tim Scott ain't going to be talking about racism. You're not going to hear Larry Elder talking about reparations. They're in line behind that mindset. Whereas on the left, all of them folks are bringing their ideas and beliefs to the table and saying, I want to be heard. The right ain't listening to none of those folks. So the right, if you are a politician on the right, your job is significantly easier because you're only addressing a small segment of the population. It's the majority of the population, but it is one segment. Christian, straight, white, heterosexual, whatever. You get what I'm saying. They're not addressing LGBT and all of that shit. They don't want to hear from that. Looking in the comments. Somebody, I see vote red with the hearts there. Tim, you are going so far left. This is a weird, untrue topic for you. Ghostwriter. Tell me what's untrue about it. Tell me what's untrue about it. You telling me the right gives a place at the table for Muslims, LGBT, feminist groups? They really do that? Black people, really? Tell me what's untrue about it. Otherwise, that party would have a hell of a lot more representation. There is a reason why out of the top 50 largest cities in America, where all of the diversity is, only 9 of them are Republican led. Only 9 of the top 50 largest cities have a Republican government. That should tell you what you need to know. You got to go pretty far down the list. I think Oklahoma City, 15th largest city, that's where you find your first Republican mayor. All of the rest of that shit, Houston, New York, Detroit, Philly, Chicago, all of that stuff is Democratic ran. Even with the crime, even with the immigration issues that Trump talks about and them being shithole towns, they won't touch a Republican politician. I think in Dallas, the mayor switched parties. But outside of that, they're all liberal. And they've been that way for years, if not generations. That should tell you something. Why they, no matter how bad the city gets, they keep going Democrat. But I just told you, the people sitting at the table in the Democratic Party are more numerous. Big cities are very diverse. Most of the cities that are very strong in the Republican camp are not very diverse. You ever see the map after an election? All of that red and the blue is only around the cities. All of that red area, not very diverse. Not very diverse. Going back to the box, tap the screen, 150,000, we can certainly make that happen. Tap the screen, get the likes up. Another one of my subscribers, Jeremy. Good afternoon, Jeremy. Good evening, Jeremy.
Real handsome.
Hey.
You're looking good as usual. How you been?
Oh, I'm doing good. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Not too bad. Fantastic. Look, here's the thing about cities. Cities and country and even suburbs just have a different style of living. I think it has less to do with popularity and a lot more to do with just lifestyle. In fact, if you actually look at the demographics of the United States, there are more people who live outside of major cities than in them by a significant amount. So I would say that conservatives would win the popular vote if given the chance to, if we had a large voter turnout.
You think so? I disagree, but I believe that they eventually would win, as you're saying. I believe they would change. They would change the way the party operates. I think they would eventually win, but they would change some things.
I don't think so. And here's why. Number one, I think that it's where a lot of conservatives have felt disenfranchised, at least from the circles I run in, where they feel like people aren't conservative enough, that they're just 90s liberals. And while some debates conservatives have conceded to overall, like, the idea that like gay people can get married, because obviously it's the whole idea of like, well, if they're not hurting anybody, why not? I really think that a lot of people are yearning for more conservatives rather than conservatives that are liberal light.
Yeah, I don't disagree that if the progressives go too far to the left, you'll have more folks wanting to go back a little bit to the center or a little bit more right. But at the same time, while we're talking about like the LGBT issues in some of these areas where the left may be going too far, Trump with these abortion bans, folks are seeing that stuff is going too far to the right.
I don't agree with that. I think that we underestimate how many people really are pro-life. And we got to remember something. Different states have different demographics. Some people are just going to have more voters vote in a government that is more pro-life than others. I mean, look at places people forget that when Roe v. Wade was overturned, it actually made blue states even bluer with their laws. So people are just, the people who are angry about Roe v. Wade are just angry that it's not on a federal level.
Here's why I disagree with you. And Trump himself has been stating that everybody wanted it to go back to the states. You notice that every state that has a limitation or a ban on abortion or any of that stuff, not one of those states got that way through a vote from the people. Every state that has placed these limitations since Trump rolled back Roe v. Wade has all been done at the behest of the state government. The few states that did allow the people to vote, they all voted pro-choice. Not one of those states. So we said we're giving it back to the states. Yeah, you're giving it back to the states. You're not giving it back to the people in those states, though. You're giving it back to the state government.
Well, two things about that. Number one, if you vote in a government, you've already kind of done your voting.
Because when they voted in the government, Roe v. Wade hadn't been overturned yet. They didn't know the government was going to have a chance to do that.
Yeah, but at the same time, in the blue state, it's they've actually gone bluer, and they've never had a problem with that. So I don't see the relevance of that. I see it like this: if you vote, you get the politicians you deserve. So if you vote in blue or you vote in red, don't be surprised when they vote in their own assemblies and in their own congresses for blue or red policies, like the people who you asked to be in office. That's why a lot of cities that are in red states have blue policies. So naturally, I just can't see there being a problem here. I see Roe v. Wade as good and gone for good reasons.
Well,
I really do see that.
I personally think that Roe v. Wade is going to be just like the Second Amendment rights. It's going to be a battle where women are trying to get that privilege back until eventually, I don't care if it takes 50 years, just like the evangelicals have been fighting to overturn it since it happened. Now the women, every election, every midterm, every national election, even if it's not at the presidential election, at the presidential level, every election from now on, there are going to be politicians losing their jobs over Roe v. Wade or over abortion rights. Until they get that back, heads are going to roll in every election until that changes.
I think there will be a lot of controversy, but did you know that there are actually more pro-life women than there are pro-life men? Believe it or not.
Really?
CNN did a poll a long time ago in 2015, showing that, and yeah, this is CNN of all people, showing that more women were pro-life than men. So it's not so much just a women's thing. It's more like an ideology thing. You see this more along for Handsome. The thing that they're voting for the most is economics. Because
that's not true. That's not true. The reason I'm saying that, I'm definitely not a know-it-all, so don't ever take it that way. The reason I'm saying that's not true, though, is at least from my corner, social media, and from people, you ask people, what is the number one reason you're voting for? On the right is border and economy, like you're talking about. On the left, it ain't the economy. They're afraid of the abortion and democracy.
Do you mind if I make a correction? Sorry. What I meant to say was young people. The biggest issue for them is economics.
I don't even think that's true.
A lot of them feel disenfranchised. A lot of them feel, including myself, that everything is so expensive. We can't start our lives. And a lot of times when you're in your 20s, you're supposed to be kind of wild and crazy and meeting new friends and gaining fun experiences and building yourself up as an adult and getting ready to potentially settle down and have kids. And a lot of people now in their 20s are feeling like they can't even get married because if they do and they want to have a family, it's going to be too expensive.
So let's take what you're saying, that if the young folks, if that's their primary reason they're voting is based on the economy, we know the numbers show that more people believe Trump is the best guy to pick for the economy than Kamala Harris. But you're basically saying, if what you're saying is true, Trump should win the younger vote. I don't believe that's going to happen.
I don't know if he'll win it, but here's the thing. There's such thing as winning your base and losing such a small part of the people who are not your base that you win the overall vote.
Yeah.
I think that he won't win the young vote. I think what he'll do is he'll win 42% of the young vote, and that'll be enough to really, really push out.
Yeah, I think you might be being a bit optimistic. Now, if you want to say 40% of the, I hate to use the race, but of the white vote, yeah, he'll do even better probably. But when it comes to Hispanics and black and all them, I don't think he'll get 40% of the young vote on any other group other than whites. I don't think Hispanics or Asians or Muslims, I don't think he's not going to get 40% of any other group.
I don't know about blacks, but I think Hispanics. You got to remember, a lot of Hispanics are very conservative in their social policies.
Yeah.
There's a lot of conservative Hispanics. I think he could easily win 45.
Here's why I'm pushing back, and I agree with you. The Cubanos and some of the Hispanics that have left communism and socialist countries don't want anything to do with the Democratic Party because they believe the Democrats are socialists. However, the reason I'm saying I don't think Trump's going to do that well is because he's promising the largest deportation in history. That's going to be brutal to a lot of people that they married and love and know and are related to. That's going to be like Gestapo type shit. And I don't think they favor that over a good economy.
You would be surprised as when it comes to Hispanics, especially when it comes to legal Hispanics and legal immigrants. Legal immigrants, including myself, have some of the biggest gripes with immigration we possibly. Because imagine this. Imagine you're somebody who goes through the legal process. It takes lots of money. You might even be really, really poor, but you're determined. You want to be an American. And then all of a sudden you see some other asshole just come along and say, hey, look at me. I got in for free. What you gonna do, huh? You know,
listen, I would be pissed off or maybe even jealous if they got that one up on me doing it that way. But I don't want their families to be separated. I don't want them to be thrown in prison like some of the things Trump has promised, 5 years in jail for entering the country.
I'm not Hispanic. Someone said I'm not Hispanic. I was born in Bogota. Shut up.
Obviously, I'm not challenging your heritage, but what I'm saying is...
No, it's just some idiot in the comment section. But here's the thing. You gotta remember how, what illegal immigration does to people. It makes them more patriotic because they want to be a part of Americana. Just like if I were to go to France, I want to be part of France. I don't want to be part of America 2.0. But the problem comes really with illegal immigration, and obviously since they're illegally here, unless they push certain laws that maybe one or two crazy Democrats.
Well, here's the point. Here's the point I'm making. Even if somebody skipped the line and you had to wait in line, you still would look at them and look, this dude came here illegally, and that's wrong that they let him skip the line. But that don't mean you get to call him a rapist and murderer. I mean, some of these folks see how, and this is what I said earlier in the program. I do believe that if Trump, better yet, I do believe that if these folks get to stay, once they become naturalized or they have children, they're gonna be voting Democrat for several generations because they're gonna be telling their grandkids, when we first came over here, this party treated us decent. They sent us to New York. They gave us something to eat. This other party was saying we was raping and murdering. That stuff, those stories are gonna be passed down. I do believe they're gonna be voting Democrat for a long time because the treatment. Look at what's going on with the Haitian community. Now those folks are here legally. They're gonna remember being told they were eating cats and dogs, and you got some of these groups going to Springfield to confront them. They're going to remember that. 30, 40, 50 years from now, they're going to be talking about that.
Well, here's the thing. There's a little bit of accuracy to some what they're
Very
saying.
little. Very little.
Hold on. There's a good video you should watch by Tyler Oliveira, who's more left than he is as anything else. He actually decided to say, okay, what's actually happening here? Because I'm hearing all sorts of stuff from different conflicting stories. And so he kind of made it look like people weren't eating cats and dogs, but there were tons of driver's license being given out to people.
Yeah, I saw that video. It's a good video. It shows that town has been, too many immigrants have been sent to that town. I'm watching it, and I'm telling my boy, I'm like, yeah, they got a right to complain. It is a right. And this is what I've said often on the program. Trump, because he's known to exaggerate, oftentimes Trump will tell a lie when the truth is sufficient. If you just simply tell people at rallies what has happened in that town where their population is swelling with a bunch of people from you don't need to make up shit. The actual story is bad enough. You don't need to pretend like they're eating cats and dogs and all this crazy shit. The real truth is a bad story. He's actually filling in lies when the truth is sufficient.
I know. Look, here's the thing I'm going to say about immigration. When it comes to immigration, we do need to limit it. We do need to make sure there's no illegal immigration, and we should make sure that we slowly integrate people into the dominant culture. True. Because here's what's happening in Vancouver. I know, different country. This is Canada, but they have a huge problem with the Indian population. And what people don't understand about the Indian population is that a lot of times they don't have the same respect for women that they do in the United States and Western culture.
That ain't going right now. Wait, hold on a second. When you got this guy talking about childless cat ladies and giving women with kids more votes than women without, bringing up that they don't treat women right is probably not the time to bring that up.
Calling some. I'm sure. Here's the thing: when politicians in India itself, politicians elected to office, say that grape is perfectly okay, and that it is a woman's a duty to allow it. I think that makes childless cat ladies a little.
But you do realize that J.D. Vance talked about staying in abusive relationships for the sake of the kids. I mean, he don't say some pretty anti-women shit out there. I mean, you can say one is worse, but J.D. Vance has said some pretty bad stuff for women. He wasn't vetted. I'm going to say this right off the bat. I don't know why Trump picked dude. He was not vetted. He ain't helping Trump out at all. He don't say some anti-women shit. I'll give you the last word. I got to move it on, though.
I will say this: no matter what, America does need to have standards for who it lets into the country, and it needs to be careful about this. And I think in November we're going to see that a lot of people are tired of too many groceries going up and too many people who are not vetted being in the country when they shouldn't be. Thank you very much, Handsome. Always good to talk to you.
My sentiments exactly. Thank you, Jeremy. Appreciate it. Come back through. Looking at the comments, and I see some folks are still defending the idea that people are eating cats and dogs. I made videos on this, and I keep saying this. Ohio is a red state, folks. The governor of Ohio is a Republican. The mayor of Springfield, Ohio is also a Republican. You can't find one professional member of prominence in that society to say, yeah, people are eating our citizens' pets. The only thing you can find is random people on the internet. You can't find one member, a fire marshal, or anybody that's in a position of professional prominence that is willing to admit, yes, this is happening. The fact that you can't find that speaks volumes. That's a problem. That is a problem. And it don't care about showing the dude walking down the street with geese, and then they've been able to show that some of the folks you're showing are from different cities and they're actually Americans. One person of prominence. You got both the mayor and the governor of Ohio and the mayor of Springfield coming out and saying this is not true. But we're supposed to ignore them, and they're conservative politicians in their own right. We're going to ignore them and believe in some random stranger that's pissed off that too many immigrants is in his town, that has a gripe. One professional member of prominence that says, yes, this is happening. Why can't you present that? Will G, they will start with the ones in Springfield, and if it squares well, they will go for all of them, and I am the son of one. That could certainly happen. If you buy into Haitians in Springfield, Ohio are eating dogs and cats because that's their culture, well, there's towns like Little Haiti out in Florida, and there's Haitians up in the New York area. Yeah, it'll spread. Before you know it, they'll be accusing Haitians all over the country of eating. Yeah, it will spread. I believe that. But if it's happening, I don't see any reason for bringing it to the forefront. If people are actually eating folks' pets, it needs to be told. But doing it with no proof at all is fucking ridiculous. And right now, there is nowhere near enough proof to suggest this is actually happening. Nowhere near enough. You can't find anybody in that damn society, no one on the police department, the fire department, the dog catchers, none of them are saying this shit. That's a problem. That means it's more likely to be not true than it is. Housing prices in Van are top 5 worst globally. What is Van? Vancouver? Yeah, the prices in Vancouver are pretty damn high. Miss Mo Better, one of my subscribers. Shout out to you, Miss Mo Better. Welcome to the program. Good evening.
My battery's charged today. It dropped on me the other day, right when I was getting into my point.
We talking about eating dogs and cats. What say you?
The only cat that I know people to eat is between a woman's legs.
Ooh, meow. Okay, all right, shorty.
That's the only cat that we know. Like, again, they take one instance and they highlight it to say this is actually what happened. And I saw the video with the people that actually called the authorities to say that the lady was going through some type of mental anguish or whatever she was going through, and she was laying on the ground with the cat. They never even actually seen her eating the cat. They just saw her laying there with the cat. So
now, in regards to what you're saying, Walker on YouTube says, I have seen a video of a woman eating a cat. She had fur hanging out of her mouth. Is that what you're talking about?
Whatever your fetish is and what you want to watch, that's on you. People do have strange fetishes, and if that's the shit you want to see, you go right ahead and watch it.
Yeah. Well, from what I hear, the picture of the woman with the cat, apparently she's a Black American woman with mental illness, and she was in Canton, Ohio. She wasn't even in the same. Here's my point. If they're doing this the way Trump stated, you should have plenty of videos and footage. It shouldn't be one little random person here or there. I mean, there are thousands of immigrants in that town. You can't come up with one or two pictures?
You know what it is, Tim? He don't need videos because he has fools that believe exactly what comes out of his mouth. Now, and as far as like going back to the debate, they're mad because Kamala pulled the him on him.
Ooh.
We can duck. We don't have to answer questions. We don't need to answer. We could talk around all this shit, and they mad because she pulled it off.
Damn. When you say she pulled the Trump, elaborate on that. What did she do that's similar to Trump?
Well, as far as y'all saying that she wasn't fact checked, that she wasn't telling, she wasn't answering.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Because Trump debating.
That's the shit that Trump does, and he's been doing it. That's his pattern. Yeah. See, this is what we got to pay attention to, people's pattern. It's not what you say right now; it's what you've been saying.
Mm. He don't get fact checked. Yeah, he don't get fact checked. So
this is why they fact check him, because you've been telling so many lies for so long. Like, when does it has to end right now? Yeah. So my question to the people in the comments would be exactly which question that she was asked that you would have fact checked.
I can answer that.
Aside for the Afghanistan shit, which she didn't even have the power to what people are putting on her.
I can answer that. She stated that police officers were killed on January 6th, and that's just flat out false.
No, they weren't killed, but they did die as a result.
But that ain't what she said. She said they were killed on January 6th.
I get it. No, I understand what you're saying.
Right.
But however, even that part, Trump, he couldn't control what those people did, but he actually incited. Now, listen, I had a friend that had a party. A fight broke out. Guess who got charged for the fight? The party thrower.
Yeah.
He should. Yes.
Yeah, I'm not one to see what happened on January 6th and say Trump didn't have anything to do with it. But I will tell you this: Gen X on YouTube says, yeah, you're gonna feel the same way when I read this. Another angry Black female racist. And he does have the basically saying fuck you, but it's worded differently. But he's not a big fan of yours.
I know he's not a big fan of mine, and I'm all good with that. So tell him take his little fat ass in the kitchen, go make a goddamn sandwich, and shut the fuck up. How about that? Now, and no, I'm not angry. I'm just your biggest threat, because I am an educated. Yes, I am a Black woman. And that's a threat to you, because you're used to seeing women barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen, and she might be your cousin. So shut the fuck up.
Oh, shit, girl. God, I didn't expect you to hit back that hard. So, God damn. So, I don't even know what I was about to say now. I don't even know how to follow that shit up. So
Stop playing. Listen, you fuck with the bull, you get the horns.
Oh, my God. You've been hanging around Megan Thee Stallion or somebody? So,
no, I'm not a fan of hers either.
Oh, really? So, but when it comes to comparing Trump to Kamala, what about the fact that under Trump, many say they can afford gas? I mean, the inflation, you can afford your damn groceries. Are you happy with the Biden-Harris administration?
No, listen, like I stated before, nothing about my status has changed from one regime to the next. And people talk about inflation. You know how many videos I see with people on there wasting food? Cooking these nasty ass food meals that they throwing in the garbage. People are not starving.
Yeah.
People are not out here starving. And believe it or not, and we're gonna go to the homeless, because I've actually went out there and spoke to homeless people and asked. They don't want to be on the radar. Some of them are like being mole people.
Yeah, I was going to say that in America, if you're homeless, it's probably, oftentimes it's mental illness. I think that, yeah, even if I lost every damn thing, I'd live in this car, or I'd go out and buy another piece of shit car. I'd go out and get a minimum wage job or something, use my first damn paycheck to buy the worst jalopy I could find and live in that. I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah, being homeless.
Absolutely. Yep, and a lot of them like that. They said because they don't want the government involved in their affairs. They said it's cheaper for them to live there. They said they're not starving. So again, until you get out there and actually put your boots on the ground and investigate and research why a lot of these things happen, you really should be quiet. Get away from these talking points. It's easy to repeat something that you heard somebody else say.
Yeah, I don't. The homeless thing. I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, I don't. In America, I think that there's enough folks. You can beg up enough. You can get a bullshit job or whatever. If your only goal is getting off the street and you're willing to work, I think most Americans can accomplish that.
Right. And that's like, again, there were bills and stuff where Trump denied it that kind of cut veterans short. You know what I'm saying? Where with HUD. There was a HUD bill that they blocked, that it affected the veterans, where it excuse me for a lack of not having my stuff in front of me, but HUD was a bill with HUD that was blocked by the Trump regime that affected the veterans, where they was decreasing their benefits and homelessness and stuff like that. So when people talk about policies and different things like that, you can tell by their speech that they're not reading. They're not going to look up none of this shit. They just I've always been see a meme and run with it.
Yeah, I've always been told it's the Republican Party that's pro-military, and it's the Democrats that'll leave them assed out. Sound like you're saying just the opposite under Trump.
Listen, they all full of shit. Trump is all about power. He's about money, and right now he's about pardoning himself. So it's in his mind, it's imperative that he wins, because he knows if he doesn't, he still faces a whole lot of legal turmoil.
So what do you now? Obviously, you're leaning left for certain, but if Trump got reelected, what do you think? I mean, is there anything really to be concerned? I mean, because we had a good economy the last time under Trump. I mean, what do you think would be like if we had a second Trump term?
Well, I think it would be a little chaotic. He already gave a lot of people this battery to make them think that they are empowered. And to say that there's immunity with the police officers, which they low-key have it already, but to have complete immunity, do you know what our streets are going to look like?
Yeah.
Do you know what our streets are going to look like? And as far as under Trump's economy, again, I know it sounds cliche, but he was handed a good economy. Yeah. Once he took office, he really didn't have much to do but to maintain what was already in there. So once the pandemic hit and he actually had to president, he dropped the ball. And about 1.2 million lives with it.
Wow. You blame his mishandling of COVID, because that's what it sounds like you're alluding to, that he mishandled the pandemic. You believe he has blood on his hands or deaths on his hands?
Oh, he absolutely does. Just like with Kamala, Biden regime have it on their hands with the border. He absolutely does. Especially too when you had the blueprint in your hand of what to do if you were faced with a pandemic. This is what you do. Obama left him that too. But he was so affixed on stopping everything Obama had in place because he had such a hard-on for him till he messed that up. You was out here. Now, those were major lies. Oh, the pandemic is going to go away. Oh, sit in the sun. By April, this will be gone. And just bleach. And then when he got COVID and they gave him that Regeneron, when he had that Regeneron, he was like, oh, it was a super drug. I'm cured. I was cured in 3 days. See, people, they're missing these things when he says this.
Yeah, he did say some wild things about sitting out in the sun and it'll be gone by April. That, does not make any sense. The saying he has deaths on his hand, that's a pretty strong comment. But let me ask you.
He does. I'm sorry.
Let me ask you before I move it on. Why are you voting in November? What is your single most important issue?
Because I'm voting for freedom, for me to still have the option of pro-choice. And when people say pro-life is pro-choice. I have the option whether I want to keep my baby or not, or have a baby, or do IVF and different things like that. So that's why I'm voting. I vote anyway, and I vote midterm. Not to the people out here. I vote midterm.
So you believe
I'm looking at my local government.
So listening to you believe Trump is a threat to freedom.
Oh, he absolutely is.
Wow.
He absolutely is. Once he gets his step foot in that office, and they put that Project 2025 in play, and for those who keep denying that he has anything to do with it, you're lying. The truth ain't in you. His name is all over that.
All right.
But he's going to say what he needs to get, like my late grandmother said, when you got your hand in the lion's mouth, you got to work easy until you get it out. Ooh. And that's what's happening with him right now. He got his hand in the lion's mouth.
All right, Miss Mobetta. Appreciate you coming through. Thank you.
Of course.
Anytime, girl. You a lie and the truth ain't in you. I can't tell you how long it's been since I heard that. Wow. You're lying, the truth ain't in you. That's one of them old wise. I haven't heard that in a long while. You a lying, the truth ain't in you. Miss Mo Better. Thank you for coming through. Do not procreate. We're okay with that, says 117EA. You're suggesting my last guest should not procreate. Okay, but that ain't your place to tell her that though, right? They love asking for handouts and kicking out their young black men. Wow, my YouTube comment section has gotten wild. I'm gonna leave it at that. She regurgitating what she learned on her Facebook recommended post. She don't know anything. I can tell you how she talks. Trump 2024, she's a believer of EBT and Section 8. Oh man, I should have kept her on with you. God damn. I should have kept her on and let her have at you guys. She didn't say shit that had anything to do with EBT and Section 8. That is hardcore stereotyping of American black women, if you ask me. Why don't people realize that you don't feel the effects of a presidency until after the term is ended? That's in the suggestion that Trump's economy belongs to Obama and things like that. I get your point. And I agree with it. But at the end of the day, regardless of what the economy is doing, regardless of who's the reason why, when you're president, you get blamed for what's going on. It doesn't matter that the last guy did it. So I understand your point, though. Let them stereotype how the hell you got EBT and you eating straight cat, says HR 40. Goodness, I was staring at TikTok comments while my last guest was on, but YouTube was apparently on fire. They're eating the dogs, DAWG. Yes, you should have kept her and allowed her to reply to what you're saying now. Yeah, Hassam, I wish I did. Miss Mobetta's a frequent guest of the program. She can handle herself, by the way. She's good. No, for real though, what are the illegals getting so much in benefits? Or why? You said, I don't believe that's accurate. Now, there was a video floating around on YouTube. It's got like almost 3 million views. I'm assuming by now it does. I watched it last night. It's got to be almost a half hour long. Some guy went to Springfield, interviewed folks, interviewed citizens, interviewed Haitians, and they were telling him, they were open. He had a translator, but they were fairly willing to let him know how much they were getting from the government. They're not getting those outrageous numbers that everybody is saying they're getting. And they all laughed at the idea that they're eating cats and dogs. The people in that town that were saying, yes, they are eating cats and dogs, it was all white people. He interviewed probably a dozen Haitians. They all said that's not happening. So go figure. And by the way, as I stated, the mayor of Springfield and the governor of Ohio also deny that is happening. Will G, exactly. Choice is life. You can have a baby. All right, fair enough. There is literal pictures of receipts showing anywhere between 5,000 and 13,000 in EBTs stacked up, and they are getting $100,000 to buy a house, but they don't have to pay back. You believe immigrants? Wow. Immigrants are getting 5,000 to 13,000 in EBT and $100,000 to buy a house that they don't have to pay back. What am I supposed to say with that? What am I supposed to say to that? The 5,000 and 13,000 on the EBT could be a host of issues, such as maybe someone is being required, just like with any other benefits. Let's say you get Social Security or whatever the case may be, and they deny you in the beginning. Oftentimes your first Social Security payment is a big one because they've been denying you for a long time. I'm not saying that that's what happened, but that could be part of it. It could also be for a family. I mean, there's a host of things could be. Maybe it could be for somebody who has been receiving payments and they've passed on or something and they didn't know. I mean, it could be a ton of... The average person, the average Haitian immigrant is not getting 5,000 to 13,000 in EBT payments a month. It's just not happening. And this is where I think the trouble is arising, at least from Trump and to some degree from MAGA. You're taking the exceptionally rare, most extreme cases and painting them as normal. This is very similar to the whole, they're having babies, putting them to the side and determining whether they're going to execute it or not. There are so many things that is coming from the right that the moment you say, well, can you show me evidence of it actually happening, it falls apart. Remember they were stating that schools had litter boxes in it because kids wanted to identify as cats? Anytime you follow up with, but can you show me an actual example of where this is happening at? It all falls apart. That's the problem. Show me some examples of where a person actually gave birth, put it to the side, and then decide. Where is a child? Because Trump is saying this at all of his rallies. A kid goes to school and comes home another gender. But when you ask, well, show me some examples of a kid that went to school one gender and came home another, it just falls apart. I really think this is where the credibility issue is at. Is a lot of these things are being said that are, literally, you're taking things in a country of 350 million people that you can barely find one example, if that. It making it sound like it's happening everywhere. This stuff ain't happening. A kid goes to school one gender and comes home another. Trump has said that in all kinds of... This stuff is not taking place. Of course, because white people said it. It's a lie, says Gen X. No, I'm not saying it's a lie because white people said it, but it is odd that everybody on the damn video that's saying they're eating cats and dogs, with the exception of that dude who wants to be mayor, are white. It is odd. It is crazy that that's happening. And as I keep stating, you can't find one immigrant that's willing to take you in their house and show you how they prepare cats or prepare dogs. You can't find one. The guy who interviewed them, the immigrants were very friendly. They let him interview him. They told him how much money they were getting in government assistance and everything. Show me how you prepare cats. I'll come in your house. I'll give you $50. I'll give you I stated that on my program yesterday. That I got a small audience. I got a tiny-ass corner of social media, but I got over 100,000 subscribers on both platforms, followers or whatever the hell it is. I would be willing to pay my broadcast. I'd pay $500 if a Haitian immigrant would let me see him and film him or her filleting a dog and eating a cat or whatever the case may be. You realize how many views that would be? Considering the fact that MAGA hasn't produced shit in regards to what I just stated. You realize how much value that would be? I could probably take off work for 6 months because Fox News and OAN and Newsmax would be giving me interviews and every damn thing. It isn't happening. You gotta assume there's a hell of a lot of folks on the right that is in that town trying to find that shit to make up for what Trump said. If it was happening, you would see it way more than to the level that you've seen it. It's worth money. It is literally worth money to get that on video. Somebody in their kitchen with a cat head and a pot of liquid stew. It's worth money to get your hands on that shit. And yet nobody is producing it. That should tell you all you need to know. Looking in the comments, why should they get anything? They never have paid in anything. Well, Diana, if you're saying why should immigrants get anything considering they never paid in anything, then you basically are saying America should not take in immigrants. They should not grant anybody asylum because that's the only way it can start. They're not going to come over here able to support themselves. You're basically saying then if you haven't contributed to the system, you shouldn't get anything. That would exclude all immigrants. Going back to the box, the whole country is immigrants. True, just about all, with the exception of the Native Americans. All right, go back to the box. I'm in the trenches. Let's stay in it. Gen X, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. I'm getting all kinds of shit wrong in your opinion. Talk to me.
What's happening, Tim?
I'm just hanging around like Jesse Jackson at a Klan meeting. So,
man,
what am I getting wrong?
Let's make some money. DJ Julio got the right idea. Me, you, and him go down to Springfield, and we'll have DJ Julio take a picture of me and you playing tug of war with a fucking cat. We'll put you in some cutoffs with no shoes or socks, and we'll play tug of war with a cat. Have Julio take a picture. We'll sell that motherfucker for millions.
But I'm going to ask you a serious question, though. Why isn't there more footage, Gen X? Why isn't there more footage?
They've got a decent amount of footage. I've got a friend that lives in...
Wait, hold on. One picture of somebody sitting there at a table with a prepared cat eating it. Is there any footage of that?
Because that's not how they eat them.
How do they eat? Then how do they do it?
They don't roast it on a rotisserie.
They eat it raw?
They get them, they wrap them, I'm guessing in tinfoil or something, throw them on a fire and eat them.
Wait.
I don't know, I'm not there. I have no idea, brother.
If they're doing this, why are you guessing? Why is there not footage to confirm how they cook them?
Bro, Haitians and Asians eat cats. It's a real meal thing. That's not made up.
Why is there not footage, Gen X?
There is footage
of them cooking and sitting down with a prepared cat. Where is it at?
That I have not seen.
Why doesn't it exist? If you got a town with thousands of immigrants and they're eating cats, you can't come up with one of them?
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you this. We're 2 weeks into this issue. I guarantee you there will be something that comes up soon enough.
You sound like...
It's a brand. Now, here, this I can tell you. And Tim, you know me. You know I'm not a bullshit artist. I've got a buddy who lives in He lives in South Springfield in a community called Southgate, I think.
Okay.
He lives on Knickerbocker Avenue. I don't know. I'm not from there. He's a good friend of mine. Now, he told me that he's never seen anything, but he knows people up in the north side of town that claim that they are going around and they're grabbing animals off the streets. He said, but more so than the pets, they're taking geese or gooses from the park.
Oh, so they're grabbing felines by the pussy. No, I want footage. I don't want wise tales and word of mouth. You're in an age where everybody got phones and cameras. You can't show me anything. This is like finding Sasquatch. You can't find me any footage at all.
They've shown some footage.
Man. I haven't seen anybody sitting down at a dinner table enjoying a dog or a cat. I have not seen it.
Guess what? If you can afford a dinner table, you can afford a steak and not a cat.
I haven't seen them sitting on a
cat. You can't afford a dinner table.
Okay, what if they're sitting on a curb with a paper plate with the remains of a cat? I haven't seen that. I have not seen anyone actually sitting there consuming a cat or a dog. Not one person in a town with thousands of Haitians. Not one.
20,000 to be exact.
Hey, you can't find one video?
I don't think all of them are doing it.
I don't think any of them are. I think it's so rare. Like I said, I'm sure there are many folks on the right that are in that town right now trying to find that shit. Up to and including possibly even paying somebody to do it just so they can get a video of it.
Tim, I wouldn't fucking put it past them at all. I mean, these people, if you take me to an area that I don't fucking know and I don't speak the language
and you drop me off and I'm hungry, yeah, let the fuck around and find out. Leave your dog out where I can find it.
But why would they eat dogs and cats when people are claiming they're getting $13,000 a month in EBT? Somewhere along the line, it's obvious somebody is lying about something.
Because they're taking their fucking $13,000 in food stamps, hustling it to get the cash, and buying Lexuses. So they're cooking the cats on the engine of the Lexus. Probably, I don't know.
Yes, you laugh because you know that's some bullshit. So let me ask you though, if at the very least, just be straight up. You can give me any answer you want, but is it possible, just remotely possible, that Trump saying that they're eating dogs and cats may actually be a gross exaggeration? Is that possible?
Of course it is. Anything's possible. And here's what I'll also say. I don't think that it's Trump making up shit. What I will say is that Trump, like myself, like you, is an active member of social media and may have seen some shit that possibly, I'm not saying is possibly not true, and spoke on it.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think he's making it. Who the fuck makes up, yeah, they're eating cats and dogs? You don't make that shit up.
Well,
he heard it somewhere. Now, should he have done a little bit more research? Maybe so.
Yeah.
Could it be being done? Now, can you tell me this? Is it possible that this shit is actually happening, but we don't have enough information about it yet?
Yeah, anything is possible, but I will say the fact that but the fact that the mayor, the governor, you don't have any pet owners in the town, the fact that nobody is complaining about these missing animals speak volume, and not one professional member of that society, a fire department guy, a fire marshal, not a cop, you can't find a chief of police or city council, not one professional member of prominence is coming forward and saying, yes, citizens are having their pets eaten. Not one person. Just like there's no video, not one person who has a resume, has a background you can verify to say, yes, this is happening. Not one putting their reputation on the line. That says a lot.
Now, wait a second. There has been some videos posted, whether they're credible or not, I don't know. But there's been several videos posted. Now, here's something else that Lance told me, and he's my buddy that lives in Springfield. Not the mayor, but the city manager owns a bunch of the housing projects where the Haitians are being held, or where they rent, or this or that. So he's got a financial interest in lying, basically.
I think Trump has an interest in this case of lying too. And by the way, everybody who has brought up something, it's all been cats. Trump said dogs too. Have you seen anything showing a person eating a dog? Anything at all?
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything with somebody eating a dog.
Yeah, it's safe to say that at the very least, Trump is lying about some of this. This stuff ain't happening like that. It shouldn't be this hard to find it.
Again, I don't think Trump is lying. I think Trump is regurgitating information, possibly false information, that he does. He doesn't research shit.
That's scary.
I don't think he's maliciously lying. But again, I think that he may be, talking about
at some point. Okay, let me say it this way. Okay, you're saying he didn't research it and he just put it out. You don't think he's lying, but at some point, if I say something that sounds really wild that my brother told me, and all of a sudden half of my audience is like, that's bullshit, that's a lie. Before I come on tomorrow and say it again, I'm gonna look into that. Dude, you told me something happened. All of these people saying it's bullshit. You don't keep going. At some point, if you keep going out there and saying it, you cannot say I didn't research. At some point, it becomes a lie. He knows now that a large portion of America is saying this is not happening. So at this point, if he goes and holds a rally and says it, he's lying. You can't keep blaming it on the original source. Now, people are saying this ain't true. You got to go verify it.
Tim, you do the same thing based on some of the false information that you get.
Give me some examples.
Give me an example. I was saying it with you. Give me an example. Kamala Harris Kamala, however you want to say it, with the whole, there are no late-term abortions. You're embarrassing, you're insulting the female population. People are literally calling these clinics in the states like Maryland, in Minnesota, in Virginia, and asking for abortions at 32, 34 weeks, and they are obliging them. So it is happening.
No. You're calling to verify if something is possible. You're not verifying it happened. Trump said they're having babies and putting them to the side and determining whether they can execute it or not. I've seen some of them calls you're talking about. I haven't heard anybody verify that if I give birth after the baby is born, can me and the doctor decide if I want to keep it or not? I have not heard anybody make that phone call.
I have. I've been watching it, and you know what I hate about social media? I want to see it for myself. I don't want to watch the shit on a screen. I want to personally see it. And that's why I think that Julio is exactly right. I've got some free time. I'll meet Julio in South Dakota. We'll come by. We'll pick you up. We'll go down to Ohio, to Springfield, and we'll get some footage, man. It'll be a nice vacation. Tim, I'll pay for everything.
You ain't said nothing but a word.
I've got a lot of disposable resources.
All right.
I can pay for a trip for us. And I would be more than happy to do that if for nothing else, for me, you, and Julio to sit around a table in a hotel room and have a conversation to put on TikTok. It would be fucking priceless. And we can buy cat-shaped tacos just for the hell of it.
All right, you've overstayed your welcome. I got to get the fuck out of here. Gen X, you crazy. I got to go. Appreciate it.
All right, bro. You have a great weekend. I'll talk to you soon, my man.
Same. Appreciate you coming through. Moving on with the program. What is it? I personally saw Trump create a better economy. Nothing else should matter. Well, Wendell, other things do matter. And I'll tell you, for instance, the whole abortion conversation we just had there. If a woman is being told you could be put in prison, or in some of these states like South Dakota, North Dakota, where they're talking about executing, $2 gas ain't going to make them say, okay, you can do that. So you're focused on the economy probably because you're not worried about abortion issues. Like, for instance, I say all the time, one of my biggest concerns is suggesting that he wants to give police immunity from prosecution. I don't know if he can do it, but he's saying it. And I personally would rather pay $7 for gas per gallon than have a cop pull me over that has complete immunity. So for everybody, the economy, even though the economy is a big issue, it ain't the number one issue for everybody. I mean, some of the things, this is what I'll say all the time. Because I understand a lot of folks favor Trump's first term. I get it. There's things to like about his first term. We didn't have wars going on. Some folks love the economy, all of that. Trump 2016 to 2020 is not Trump 2024 to 2028, or officially will be January 2025 to January 2029. But Trump Part 2 is not Trump Part 1. He didn't have a 6-3 majority on the Supreme Court, which could easily become 7-2 if he's reelected. That was not a worry in 2016. He didn't have immunity that has been undefined by the Supreme Court. That was not part of Trump. As I pointed out, offering to get a police immunity and bring back stop and frisk, that wasn't part of the first Trump. Because everybody said, you're in your feelings. The mean tweets, vote based on his policies, not based on your feelings of what he said. Now it's his policies. Now he's promising some far-right policies that people are concerned about. Stuff he's actually saying, like I brought up immunity from prosecution and giving them the right to stop and frisk. That's a policy. That ain't based on mean tweets anymore. He wasn't promising to do wild shit like that the first go-round. So I will say, even though many folks favor his economy, everybody ain't voting based on the economy because he's making some wild policy promises now. Take it as you may. Mowgli says Trump was handed a good economy he didn't create. I hear that often. I don't disagree with it, but he should get credit for maintaining it, even though you're saying he didn't. I saw somebody mention the Haitian Revolution, but I can't bring the super chat back up. You're saying the benefits that the Haitian Revolution had for the United States, but YouTube has stopped me from scrolling back to your comments, so I do apologize for not reading it. Trump also didn't have to fight the uphill battle of post-COVID inflation. Yeah. But I'm saying that some of Trump's policies this go round are pretty far to the right. Not to mention, he ain't gonna put in there a non-loyal administration. I mean, he's putting folks in there that if he say, I don't want you to certify the election again, they'll do it. All of that wasn't an issue back in 2016. So getting the Trump economy is great, but some of that far right shit is scaring people. January 6th had not happened in 2016. He's a different guy. Yeah, you must love what's going on, huh? Does anyone care that he called for the death of the Central Park Five, all innocent and never apologized? Well, Trump's method of operation is not to apologize. I think he believes that shows weakness. One of my subscribers, Chase. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Chase.
Yes, sir.
Hey, saw you tuned in. What am I getting wrong?
Well, so the live initially started talking about immigration and whether we have an issue here or not, or whether it's just being exploded.
You believe the animals, the pets are being eaten?
So, I mean, look, I've seen one video. I'm not going to say that I haven't seen a video. Sure, I'm going to be voting for Kamala Harris. I'm going to go ahead and say that now. But I'm not going to be the person on the left side that says, no, there's no evidence. No, we haven't seen anything. There is a video of a woman on her knees, and it's from a police body camera footage. Mm-hmm. She was eating a cat. She was literally eating a cat.
Right.
But that was one isolated event.
Is it a raw, uncooked cat?
You might want to look at the video. It's pretty bad.
You can say yes or no. Is it a raw, uncooked cat?
Yeah, she tore its neck open and was biting and eating it.
Right. So what custom really around the world is it for people to eat raw animals? I mean, other than sushi, even some of the most primitive customs, they still use fire or something to cook the damn thing. To bite into a raw animal, even the Haitians ain't doing nothing like that.
Exactly. That takes a certain level of
mental illness.
Yes, that is pure mental illness, and we only have one isolated event of that, and they're taking it and blowing it up.
Right. So you do believe that this is being over-exaggerated?
I believe the dogs and cats thing is being over-exaggerated, yes. Now, if we want to go and talk about how many people are coming into the country and whether they're getting $3,000, look, I pulled out my calculator.
My caller must has a call, and I see your comment, Josh, says we usually pay extra to watch a woman eat a raw cat. You damn right. Well, not nowadays you don't. It's on your phone. Well, thanks to the Trump administration, a lot of folks on the right, we can't even get Pornhub anymore the way they're doing things. Will G says the Haitian Revolution is the contribution. Without the Haitian Revolution, half of the United States wouldn't be what it is today. I'd like to know more about that. Now, the Haitian Revolution was the first country where it was all free slaves that had freed themselves. But I'd be curious to know what their effect was on the United States. Chase, go. You got a call.
So, let's get to the logical side of here on things. If we've got 20, I know it's not 20 million people coming in. I was here during that part of the conversation. Right. That's a damn lie. So it's more like 20,000 people, and that's actually an accurate number. But if you want to say that all of those people, and that's 20,000 people a day, if you want to say that those people are getting $3,000 each for coming in here, if you do that math,
it's insane. He's got a call coming in back and forth. I'm going to have to move it on, Chase. I know he's been holding on, but apparently somebody's calling him over and over again. So we'll move it on. But he was going to obviously say if 20,000 people are coming in here a day and you're giving them all $3,000 each, it gets to be insane. I mean, he's pointing out that stuff can't be real. And that's kind of I think, like I said, I believe that Trump is exaggerating where the truth is sufficient. Now, in regards to the 20,000 coming here a day, if that's the actual number, the border bill was going to reduce that. The border bill wasn't perfect, but the right was seeking perfection. Well, really the right wants Trump reelected. I don't think there was even if Biden had talked to the right and said, tell me what you want in this bill, and I'll write a bill solely to give you that, Trump would not have been in favor of that, because Trump wants to use the fucked up border as a reason to get reelected. So there's really nothing they can do on that, because Trump doesn't want the border fixed until he does it. But I do believe in give and take. You're not going to get a bill passed where it only gives you what you want on your side. And that's kind of what the right was saying. I don't want money to the Ukraine. I don't want Israel. I don't want this many coming in. Okay, but what are you giving the liberals? You want a bill passed, but it just has to be all for what the right wants? You don't want to give them money to help the Ukraine? You're not giving them anything. No bill will ever be passed that way. That's not a bipartisan bill. That's a bill for you going to the box. King Finn, good afternoon. Welcome to the program, King. They have them everything else.
Yes, sir.
Hey, so dogs and cats, meow, woof, woof.
You already know that I've already marked my dogs and cats safe from this pandemic of people supposedly eating them, which is hot ass bullshit in the first place. Now I'm just gonna go back 2 callers. I appreciate Chase for bringing out and calling that out for that one video, because that's what it sounds like. It's one punk ass video of some lady doing something completely extravagant. If she's Haitian, we don't even know. It could be a black lady who's down on her luck, high on dope or smack or whatever the hell else it is, and she did some wild shit. Okay, but what we do know is for a fact that white people run in schools and pew pew more than any other motherfucking race. We do know for a fact that when police get in front of black people, they pew pew for them for no reason. I know for a fact that I cannot enjoy $2 gas if a cop decides to pew pew my fucking head off. Okay, so miss me with all the bullshit.
Well, I gotta push back on one area. Cops are not just shooting people for no reason.
Okay, but are we going to agree with the fact? Are we going to attest to the fact that they are pew-pewing people? Sonia Massey.
Yeah.
They
make, okay, all right, you kind of got me. They do make some.
She had a pot of hot water in her hand.
Yeah.
Well, what was the other Tiana Taylor? She was asleep on a bed, and her boyfriend, who was trying to protect her, did he not get hurt in that?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. So we're gonna. I'm gonna jump around a little bit just to get you 100% right, because I told you I'm about to cook their ass. Okay, bruh. Why you keep letting Gen X get on here, bro? Don't go nowhere with that dude. I wouldn't trust him to walk down a stairwell straight. Okay, you might not make it back. All of that bullshit about you finna go make some money. You and the Republicans, if you want to, go down there, but you know just as well as I do, because before that motherfucker came on, you know damn well it's a billion Trump supporters down there trying to find somebody eating a damn cat and a dog, and I don't put it past them for the fact that he just said that shit to put on a black costume and a black mask and swear to God they was Haitian. I'm good. Next.
Now I do agree. Yes. I totally do agree, and I see on YouTube Upward Onward says amen. He definitely agree with you, but I agree with you also that there are probably folks on the right all over Springfield, Ohio, looking for Haitians that'll do that. I mean, because they need to back up what Trump said.
Now. They're out at the Trump rally now, because that's what it is. It's a Trump rally. They're trying to find the Haitian people that are eating cats and dogs. Stop it.
Yeah, I believe that. I mean,
say again.
As I stated earlier, I would pay $500 for somebody to let me film that, because I know it's going to be worth millions of views. I'm going to make money off of it. So the idea that they ain't finding no videos show it ain't happening.
Like late night TV, there's more. Let's go here. If we're letting Haitians in, ain't Haitian and Mexican people different? Ain't Haitian and Spanish people different? So how are you saying that there's such a problem at the southern border? We're letting all these undocumented people in, But you saying that a Haitian is eating cats and dogs, because that's not the same race, is it?
No. I think it's a case
what
of.
What Trump do? Wait, hold up, because I'm gonna really fire you off on this one, dude. Y'all said fuck your feelings. Let's vote on his policies. Okay, he's been in office for 4 years, and it's 5 years later. It's 9 years total. Where's the healthcare plan?
He said he had a concept of a plan.
No. A concept is yet a thought, an ideal. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Where is the plan?
Yeah, 9 years.
Where's the plan?
Yeah, he came down
Where's
the escalator. Yeah, he came down the escalator 9 years ago, 2015, talking about he's going to repeal and replace Obamacare. The idea that he had a the idea that he said he has only gotten to a concept of a plan is insane.
I got a concept. But if there's anything that's better, but, which means, again, what does the word but mean? Anything that I said before that word means nothing. But if it works, I'm going to make it work the best that it can. So you admitted to yourself that you know damn well you ain't got no health plan. You just want to say that nonsense on the stage like you always do, thinking that was going to work to the people who should actually.
But that's also why. But that's also why they believe ABC was on the side of Kamala Harris instead of Trump, because they're making Trump define his statements, and they're not making Kamala Harris define hers. Real quick in the comments, Will G said, hang on. Real quick in the comments, the Haitian Revolution. The Haitian Revolution forced Napoleon to sell the Louisiana Territory as he was getting his ass kicked in Haiti. I didn't know that. I did not know that. For some reason, my TikTok side, let me go back to some reason the TikTok side what the hell just happened?